Good morning. It's still morning, technically. So as the title asks, is productivity better than being punctual, timely, or whatever? Usually they go hand in hand, or depends upon how how far away and how off you are with the timeliness, but wanted to really work on, because it was a couple of days ago when Sin Marxism reached out and was like, yo, can you how's the audio balancing? Sounds loud to me, but that's a weird mix. He continues his counter-programming to games done quick, bold. Oh, yeah. GDQ. I mean, I watched that a long time ago, GDQ. But I have not seen that shit in forever. Is it looking good? Nice. I bet it's going to look even better when I turn on my hair light. Ugh. Look at that separation. Wowee. You can see the shine. This is the free shampoo we got. We got 3 sets of like full bottles of shampoo from the Pride event. I honestly don't even know what the brand is. Hold on, let me. It's called Lanza. I've never seen an apostrophe before an L. It's a very unique brand name. I did not. I used a conditioner once, and then my hair was just too conditioned. It was just, oh god, I couldn't handle how conditioned it was. I probably should have grabbed the ones from the shower. I should have found the ones in our closet. It's a little wet. It's on this week. You assumed just wanted to protest Doctors Without Borders? Whoa, well, okay, hold on. I'm not Israel, okay? I'm not here to try and, like, kill Doctors Without Borders. I'm not like Barack Obama bombing the Kunduz hospital. Yeah. You didn't know it was going to go that way, did you? Check and mate. Not everybody likes speedrun content, but by all means, donate to those that actually really good pods. We got Taco Bell last night because it's been a while since we had done something, and we've been eating our mostly protein / dietary focused foods, and I guess it's been working. The one on the 4th? What's on the 4th? Like 4th of July? Oh, you mean the Taco Bell? No. But also, specific streets are not a good, not a good idea to just throw out. You know what I mean? Technically, but it isn't that one, honestly. But yeah. But if it was, I would be like, whoa. Not that anybody's honestly. I'm a nobody for now. We still love Taco Bell, but the diet food, I guess, and just eating better, it seems to have worked because I just ate like one of that. Like, there's a new nacho thing that they're selling for around $3. I say around because it seems like every fucking market they shift their prices around just a little bit differently, but it's like it's not the beefy 5-layer nacho, because now that's much more expensive, but there's some other new, like, some kind of beefy something nacho cheese, whatever crap they call it. It's the same ingredients we all know, but sold to you in a different configuration for a radically different price for some reason. What am I doing? But even just eating one of those, it felt great. I was like, wow, I'm like honestly full. What the hell? It's not like that. It is one of the vegetarian fat food, yeah, I remember when I worked there, it was just not nonstop, but there was a lot of people that would come in and be like, hi, I would like a bean burrito, but please be sure it is only bean. You see, I am a vegetarian. I go, I know. Thank you. I got it. Yes. But I will also make sure because it's very important for you. Like for me, it's just a whatever, but like, I understand the situation. This happens perhaps more than you might think. A lot of like Indian Americans, like people from India, or at least appear to be from India, because I guess that's a place where vegetarians come from, or they have a higher percentage of vegetarians. I don't know, because they're here in America. So you think they would love burger, which is, I suppose, you think about the cow being a sacred animal if they follow that specific custom or religion, whatever. But you get the idea. You get the idea. Oh, I should grab the burrito. It's gonna keep being in the microwave. Now, this will only really apply to people who are in, like, a dual living scenario with a spouse or partner, but... Ooh. Burger King caught deserved shit for cooking their Impossible Burger with an animal. Oh, no. Oh, that's actually really bad. For a few different reasons. Mostly, in my mind, comes, at least first and foremost, is the health reason, because... if your body is not accustomed to the different proteins and enzymes that you need to have, you can cause some real trouble for people. I've heard. I've never experienced it, but that's what I've heard. But maybe that's why they tasted so damn good. No, I was kidding. We've also eaten a lot of, and still kind of have, like on 4th of July, we had hot dogs, or that were like veggie dogs, and we had Boca burgers, whatever. They were great, but they just been what's been sitting in our freezer. But because, you know, they sit in the freezer for a while, and you can freeze meat, but you can freeze Boca shit way longer. And it can sit in your refrigerator, or it can sit in your in-house freezer just for like so much longer, because you know it's not going to go bad. It's the same reason why I switched over to almond milk a while back. Originally for doing the keto diet, back when that was still like the Atkins diet and whatever. It was just no carb diet when I was doing it, and then they talked about the ketones a bit, and then when keto came out, I was like, oh, I guess that's what I was doing. Almond milk had less, because there was no lactose specifically, so it had less stuff in it comparatively, especially if you got the unsweetened kind. And then I was just like, wait, this is awesome, because it lasts a while. I mean, it might be a little different if you're baking something, or if you need the milk to have like the fat or the whatever it's got in it. I guess it's the lactose to make cookies rise a bit more. Huh. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where I heard about it, or someone told me about it, when I was what feels like a child. When I was somewhere between 8 and 16. And I've just taken that one anecdote, locked it in, more than like any type of like quadratic equation or whatever. That one specific anecdote is locked in, and I'll never forget it, and I'll just repeat it as if it's hard fact from here until the end of time. It's like, it's similar, although this I've heard more often. If you're in the desert and you're stranded for a long time, very dehydrated. Maybe you're just very dehydrated, but the desert is like the scenario that comes up a lot, especially to children. If you drink water, like, oh, water, guk, 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 you'll like die or get very sick, or it will just hurt a lot. Some combination of all of those three things, because your body can't take in water that rapidly after being so omega dehydrated that you should like splash water on your lips or just hold it in your mouth and not swallow, which if you are dying of thirst scenario, I can't imagine you would not gulp that sucker down. But that's a thing I've heard as well. And again, lock that in and be like, wait, I don't know the amount of time, but the amount of time is important. Your cousin's been a vegetarian her whole life and she swears she's sick when she gets unwanted meat, though. Yeah. I mean, also, biomes and guts are different from person to person. Even with similar diets or whatever. The phrase, it'll turn your stomach inside out. No idea what that means. Yeah. Yeah, it makes you think twice. That's for sure. Because you're like, I don't know. That doesn't sound good, but I am very thirsty. There was that one Treehouse of Horror episode where they all got turned inside out by the gas. And that's all I can think about. Didn't seem good. Didn't seem good. But, so the thing I was talking about before, another way to be productive, again, this usually only applies to people who are taking advantage of a dual living situation, is just do chores and shit. Do things that, like, if you were normally the person that mows the lawn and you didn't do the laundry, do the laundry. Get some shit done. Especially now that I'm unemployed. I got no excuse not to do this shit. And it's like, okay, this is nice. I can do this. This is not bad. Honestly, I was just the lazier of the two whenever it came down to, like, who can handle having less shit to wear. Also, because I had the bad habit of never getting rid of clothing. So, like, I'll have clothing from when I was still in high school. I have, like, whenever I get new underwear, I just put it on top of the old underwear. Because it's like, other underwear's still underwear, you know? New socks? Sweet. Stuff them into the sock drawer, you know, as the new rotated ones, but the other ones are still in there. Why get rid of them? So I always have a deeper backlog, I guess, is a part of the reason why I was able to take advantage of that. But no more. No more. And then, you know, setting about, I have to get XYZ done, make an appointment, whatever. This is like adulting for kids, but it's adulting for millennials, basically, because this shouldn't be a problem for most people. But broken individuals, they need help with this stuff. Quicksand. Yeah, I feel like deserts was a big thing. Mirages, I was well versed on what a mirage would be and not to trust my eyes when I'm on near-death experience. Because, wait a minute, this is too good to be true. And then quicksand, yeah. I really kind of want to see what quicksand looks like. I probably could look up a video of it. Too lazy. But, like, I've been shown what they tell me it looks like, but, like, does it really look like the movies or the cartoons? Like, just, really? Is it just a pit for some reason? Just like a perfect patch, just waiting for you? Right, yeah. Or you, like, go to drink something, and it turns out it's just a bunch of sand, and you go, ah, and you get all upset. Or you jump into a pool and you land on a rock, and you go, oh, my head, right? What that is an interesting observation. And your friends turn into hot dogs, or those turkeys with the little chef hats on their feet. I'm sure there's a reason for those, but now they just turn into weird, partially open chef hats. I think this makes the food look nice. The feet are dirty. They they were so prude back then. They'd still put socks on the drumsticks. They're like, ew, does not look good. Or someone thought it was hard to draw bones for some reason, so they decided to put that weird. That'd be way harder to draw, though, so that doesn't even make sense. I guess I've never been hungry enough for my people to turn into anthropomorphic hot dogs. I guess that's a good thing. But setting goals for yourself, making sure you get things done, and it's important in at least this self-motivation life I've built for myself. But with that said, let's start something new. This is a video. It's a creator I don't recognize, but it looks interesting. So let's see. At least the title looks interesting. So let me go over to the scene. Pop. Let me grab the title. Oh, I still have the high-speed rail thing up there. Oops. We're not doing China propaganda yet. Okay. That comes later. Or probably not. I don't have anything lined up for that. So let me grab the URL and then set up the link. So now is pinned in chat, linked as in chat, as well as in the Discord server under the React Sources channel. Okay. Why everything feels like a scam now. Yesterday we had a bit of a discussion about how I still feel like I could just never scam somebody. Like if somebody called up, like if I, like people call me and I'm like, oh, this is a scam. How the fuck do you do this? Like, that's crazy. My grandparents almost got scammed thinking that I was trapped in Mexico and needed them to pay them money so I could not be in jail or something. And it's like, what the fuck? That's crazy. Yeah, Kara had that situation, but hers was even funnier because they were saying that they were not with her husband, but instead her secret gay lover or whatever, which I thought was really funny. And they were like, well, I guess Kara's kind of gay. I don't know. I just thought that was fucking hilarious. It scared Kara half to death because usually her grandfather doesn't initiate a phone call. Usually it's her grandmother. So she's like, oh my God, I missed a call from my grandfather. My grandmother's dead. It's all over. Oh no. And I was like, you don't know that. Just call him back. And she's like, oh no, oh no. And she's like, just call him back. What do you mean? And then like she calls him back, and for some reason he's like, oh, Kara, can you sit down? I want to ask you a question. And I'm just like, this is crazy. And then he's like, are you in Mexico or whatever? And she's like, no. Driving a car with a pregnant woman and you're trying to pay a lawyer on the spot. Lawyers love getting paid on the spot, for sure. They go, well, wait a minute, you're pregnant? Hold on, now I need that up front. Hold on, I don't trust you. So I couldn't, yeah. But I'm just like, I could not scam people. And then like NFT grifts, rug pulls. I mean, I guess there's a layer where people convince themselves that they're not scamming people. But there's definitely people who are just dead ass scamming people. Also, yes, you don't drive. Good point. I didn't even think about that. I mean, maybe it was the pregnant woman driving, right? Maybe she was just like not so pregnant that she couldn't drive. I don't know. Yeah, it was weird. It was, but then now that we need money, technically, right? Because I'm unemployed. Scamming, you know, Fire Festival 2 or 3, I guess, because I think they made a second one. So maybe I can open up another one and make a cool $1 million and something. So let's see. This is a channel I haven't seen before. I'm not sure if this was on Kara's or I just found it and said, looks interesting. And decided to move along. 4 days ago, 100,000 views. Pretty good.
I'm not the only one who's noticed that almost everything kind of feels like a scam lately. Like, everywhere you go, people are just trying to take your money by any means necessary. There's a saying that capitalism breeds innovation, and I do believe there was a time when that was true.
First it was a fake laugh, then it was a real laugh, because that is actually kind of just really funny in general. Just because it makes sense at first, and then, oh wait, state enterprises have built the foundations for everything, and even every market has to have its hand held and then subsidized by the government in order for it to exist.
But nowadays, I'm not so convinced. Like, it used to be that if you wanted to make a lot of money, you had to solve a problem or provide some sort of value to the public. Doing so is how companies would establish themselves and build a trustworthy reputation and brand loyalty with their customers. But those days are long gone, and now we're living in what I've started calling the grift economy. In the grift economy, no one is really playing the long game anymore. No one is interested in providing true value, and reputation is basically meaningless. It's all about squeezing every possible dollar out of every possible person at every possible moment, and providing as little as possible in return. Typically, using tactics that are manipulative at best and completely exploitative at worst.
Have you ever bought something from Amazon and you look at the brand name and it's like Cars or or something. You go, huh? Like, oh, is this like a IKEA thing? Like, no, it's just Amdorlorf. It's just some seeming like a cat just spelled it on a keyboard. And it's just like, I don't understand. And they print it on the side of the product. It is on the side, it is there, but it's like, I have no loyalty to whatever pile of consonants you have now constructed to be your brand. Long term doesn't really matter, you know?
Somehow, we've gotten to a point where nearly every facet of life is a transaction that benefits someone else more than it benefits you. Like, you can sign up for a subscription service in under a minute, but you have to jump through endless hoops, making phone calls and emails when the time comes that you want to cancel. You order takeout and end up paying $30 for an $8 sandwich thanks to service fees and delivery charges and tips. And if your $30 sandwich is shitty, which realistically it probably will be, well, sucks to suck. That's your problem. You buy clothing and it disintegrates after 2 washes. You're pressured to tip $2 on a $7 coffee that's only worth $1 to begin with. You pay $50 in convenience fees for buying concert tickets online. And hey, did you hear that Netflix is increasing their prices by yet another $1 per month? And whatever you do, don't miss out on the once-in-a-lifetime chance to own an NFT of a meme of a... Never mind. Over time, there has been a very deliberate shift in how businesses view consumers.
There's one service that I cannot stop, literally, and not because I need it, because I just can't find how to change my payment option. There's a website called MTG Goldfish. I've tweeted at them, I've emailed them, I've done all the different things I can possibly do. Never get any information back. It costs like $6 a month, and it was used to keep track of all the cards in the crappy card store business thing that we had running. And my friend, who actually knows everything, and I was a logistics guy, we're in it together, splitting everything, keeping track of all the information. It was great to have all these tools, whatever. But now that I'm like, look, I don't need to take half of the profits of the not generating profits because we're cutting it in half every time. So you know all the things. Here's how you do the logistics. It's not that hard. And also you have the flexibility to do as little or as much as you want, whatever. He took over, and I want to then move his PayPal to be the one that pays off this service. And I can't change it anywhere outside of the account or whatever. All I can do is just shut down the account, I guess. But I don't want to do that because then that would erase all of his like back end data of all the different cards of, you know, which ones he has and how many quantities, all that kind of shit. So once we started it, there's no way to change it. And if you delete it, then it's all gone. So it's just like, we don't want to just straight up delete it, but we can't change it. There's no phone number and no one responds. I'm just like, whoa, we're kind of just doing this, waiting for something to happen. But until then, $6 every month.
Consumers. What used to be a symbiotic relationship where money was exchanged for value is now just a race to the bottom funded by suckers, and all of us are the suckers.
Money can be exchanged for goods and services.
You know how I said that companies used to have to solve a problem or provide some sort of genuine value to make money? Well, the clever workaround that they found is that they can just create a problem and then turn around and sell you the solution. Isn't that awesome? Planned obsolescence is obviously old news, but it's more rampant now than ever. Companies have figured out that if they make things shittier, make them break faster, and make them nearly impossible or at least cost prohibitive to repair, people will have no choice but to just keep buying them again and again. Do it enough times and it becomes normalized, and now we buy $1,500 smartphones that we expect to replace every 2 to 3 years. But do you know what's even better than a shitty overpriced product that's made to break?
An ad? My phone is a 2021 phone. Kara's is a 2020 phone. So for a while there, I liked getting a new phone every 3 years. Now it's like, well, it might be every 5 or 6 or 7 years.
A shitty overpriced product that's made to break and that requires a monthly subscription in order for you just to use it. That way, you can pay over and over again to replace the thing when it dies and pay every month until then just to use it. Sounds reasonable. I mean, why screw someone once when you can just screw them again and again and again? It sounds like something Bill Cosby would say. To be clear, I'm not
Whoa.
totally against subscription
Whoa.
services. Like, I think it makes perfect sense to pay on an ongoing basis when you're getting an ongoing service, but that's just not the case for your printer or your heated car seats or your frickin' doorbell. Do you remember when social media
Side note. What do y'all think about these little subscribe animations that come up and do little click sounds and ring sounds when they click it? One of those things that I would never judge somebody else for putting on their shit. I assume there's some kind of metric, at least at one point, that was measured to say, look, it's effective. It works. People do it when you prompt them. And even these passive, not asking for it, but just showing a little thing might get some percent of people to do it. I would feel weird putting it on a video. I don't know. I'd be dumb not to, I guess, but I would just feel weird.
ongoing basis when you're getting car seats or your frickin' that's just not the case for your printer or your heated car seats or your frickin' doorbell. Do you remember when social media first became a thing? MySpace, Facebook, Instagram, they were platforms that were meant to connect you with your friends and family. You could use them to meet new people who were into the same things that you were into. They used to provide value, but now social media is almost exclusively advertisements. And I'm not even really sure why we still use it, to be honest, because for every one post you might see from someone that you know, someone that you've actually chosen to follow, you're likely going to see 4 to 5 to maybe even 10 ads from companies that you've never even heard of yelling at you to let you know that there is supposedly a bigger, better, nicer version of everything, and you need it. This t-shirt fits better than any t-shirt you've ever worn before. These are the softest underwear in the entire world. This is the greatest
I think I have seen those t-shirt ones specifically. Yeah.
cookware ever invented. This is the only case that will protect your phone from a drop. This shampoo will change your f***ing life. What you have right now is trash, so buy what we're selling. Spend, 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 consume, consume, consume. Once again, these are problems that I don't really think exist. I don't think many people are sitting around on an everyday basis fixating on how soft their underwear is. And I'm even less convinced that some random company that no one's ever heard of happens to make the greatest t-shirt in the world. But if they can convince you that there's something better to be had, then maybe you'll give them your money. And hey, if word gets out that their product is actually crap, well, they can just pull the plug, disappear off the face of the earth, and start over under a brand new name, just like that. Oh yeah, and a lot of these companies are also subscriptions because of course they are. What do you mean you don't want $70 worth of shampoo auto-billed to your credit card every month? Don't worry though, you can always cancel, if you can even figure out how to. I think that the popularity of companies like Temu and Shein really highlight how normalized the grift economy has become, because chances are that if Temu was a brick and mortar store and you went in looking for something, for anything really, you'd most likely leave without buying anything at all when you realized that the quality of their products is somehow even worse than what you'd find at a dollar store. So even at the low prices, it's just not worth it. But because they're
I guess I haven't used Temu exactly, but I've used AliExpress and other basically the same thing, just skinned on a different website. And I find it to be somewhere around maybe 20% duds and then 80% it is what I expected it is. But I guess maybe I'm just extra pessimistic and I know it's going to be something. I think there's a couple of times Kara's bought something and then like from the picture, she thought it would be something and then she gets it and it's a small thing. And she's like, oh, well, I guess that makes sense because of the price she paid for it. But there's definitely been a few wins, but I get what she's getting at ultimately.
online, you're shopping blindly, relying only on a bunch of product reviews that are very likely manipulated, if not entirely fabricated. And then
Yeah, that's the thing that, I mean, working at HSN, only going to say true things, never going to disparage the company with the negative or not actual because I signed that paper. I would go on and we have like a big, huge hit item, and it would have like, wow, 15 reviews from verified actual customers. You go on Amazon and there's like, oh, this one, this one of, I don't know, however many shoehorns will have 15,000 reviews. And you go, what? Huh? Who the fuck? Like it's got to be bots. There's because there's just not like like logistically that shoehorn is not sold all over the planet. It's only made and manufactured and given out to certain warehouses at best. They have not made a million of them. And like what percentage of people actually submit a review? And they're all different. You scroll through, they don't all seem like, and these are the ones that actually get written out. But I guess there's also reviews that are just stars with no comment because I don't know, like I don't think I've ever reviewed a product. I might have once or twice in my entire life. And I've bought a lot of shit. I mean, even just like the star rating, like on like, uh-oh, you know what? 4 stars. Not perfect. Nobody is perfect. What is that? Like Po Buddy's Nerfect or whatever? Right, yeah. So also I do love because sometimes there is a real review on there. And they're like box arrived dented, like just like the shipping box, or like the guy who delivered it was rude to me, 3 stars. And it's like it has nothing to do with the product whatsoever. That is not helpful. Amazon is just a delivery person, right? That's not the and it's okay. That one can't be a bot because it's bad and also it's dumb. I mean, I guess it's not a reason it couldn't be a bot, but it's just too dumb. It's very specifically human dumb.
Then you get your $20 worth of lead painted baby toys or whatever in the mail and realize that, surprise, they're trash. But what are you going to do about it? Are you going to spend money to mail it back to China for a refund? Probably not. So they've just sold you $20 worth of asbestos and fire hazards, and there's nothing you can do.
That's not enough.
the China hate is intense. Asbestos and lead. You're probably going to end up with more lead in American products, but I'll let it go for the sake of course, there are poor quality things that you can get that aren't unsafe.
We demand more asbestos! More asbestos! More asbestos!
Congratulations, you've been grifted.
And also, just thinking back on that bit specifically, that is a really great way to look at politics specifically, just because somebody who says the right thing in a boring way, meh, but then a complete asshole can say it in a way that just seems to generate more like favor, even though it's literally advocating for the worst possible thing. They all just jump on it.
Fashion operates under the exact same model where they know that they can sell you something that is literal garbage, but if the price is low enough, you won't care enough to complain. Do this to a few 100 million people, and before you know it, you've gotten rich, selling actual trash. But what I think is even worse than cheap, crappy companies selling cheap, crappy clothing is the bait and switch of companies who initially used to sell a quality product at a fair price and then gradually increase their prices while decreasing the quality of their products.
And that's usually because of private equity. A company might exist, be pretty good. Someone approaches the owner, sole proprietor, small team of individuals, buys them out, makes it a part of a subsidiary of a larger brand, slowly reduces the quality, it dies out, and then all those customers then go back to the original big company to get whatever it is they need. So they find that instead of letting a other company grow and thrive underneath them and eventually compete with them, they can walk in early, buy them out, suck a lot of that revenue back from their customers with worse quality via materials and labor being exploited by making them produce more for the same rate, or less individuals producing the same amount, or whatever it is. And then let it die.
All in hopes that no one would notice. It used to be that the term fast fashion referred to stores like H&M and Forever 21 and Zara, like stores that are known specifically for being really cheap. But now you'd be hard-pressed to find a single store in any mall at any price point selling something that isn't fast fashion. Everything is fast fashion now, even the brands that used to be considered decent. Levi's is fast
I was going to ask what brands do you think are decent? Like
fashion, Uniqlo is fast fashion, The Gap is fast fashion, all the department stores sell almost exclusively fast fashion. Guess sells jeans for over $200, and guess what? They're still fast fashion. I think I'm going to make an entire video about fast fashion soon, so let me know below if that's something you'd be interested in. Now, we couldn't talk about the grift economy without talking about one of the most nefarious types of grifters around, data brokers. Data brokers make a fortune buying and selling your personal information. Things like your full name, address, and phone number, where just like that. Manufactured scarcity. Code and use the code Nicole to get 20%.
Code Nicole if you wanted to delete me. We watched a video about delete me and how it works, and it does work. It's just, do you feel like doing it yourself? And most people are like, no. But then they did respond to that guy's video, and he left like a comment about like the email that they sent him, and he seemed to be like, oh, they were very nice to me, but because he was terrified, I guess, when he got that email. But yeah.
% off your US consumer plan. Another way that companies like to grift us is with manufactured scarcity. By convincing you that demand is high and availability is low.
Diamonds is an easy one. The classic. Trying to think of other things that it could be that she could bring up. I mean, literally like different types of like eggs and milk. Those are famous for like, uh-oh, we have too many eggs in circulation. Better crack this whole batch and throw them down the drain, or dump out these vats of milk, because if we give them too much milk and they have it, then they'll reduce the cost of it, and that'll be bad for our margin. So it's better to just take this 100% complete product we have and then just destroy it. Not even donate it, but actually just destroy it and dump it. Then just sell it to the people that want to buy it, and or give it away. Because giving it away, whoa, that's also going to make our prices go, not be good, because people need to buy the milk to then donate to those places. That's how it's supposed to work, I guess. I don't know.
Not only are you more likely to buy on impulse, but you'll probably be willing to spend more when you do, even if what you're buying is a turd that no one will care about in 6 months.
Oh, maybe it's like more like the collector thing. We're like, look, this is a collectible bottle of Mountain Dew Zero. Wowee. This limited time plastic label will have, fucking Pitbull on it. Gee whiz, collectible. Never actually, it's technically only going to be around for such a period of time, but it doesn't matter.
We saw this with Stanley Cups, we saw this with Funko Pops, and as I actually just learned a few days ago, there's a new piece of crap on the market called a Labubu. I'm not even really sure what the hell a Labubu is, but
it's a good thing Kara rented the restroom, because if she heard this Labubu slander, she would be pissed. Kara wants a Labubu. At least one or two that she thinks are actually good, and I'm just like, oh no, I thought you let.
But I promise you that you don't need one. Actually, I heard that word for the first time a few days ago, and I swear to God, I thought that it was a euphemism for a labia, and I was like, oh, is that what we're calling it nowadays? Because I've still been calling mine a hoo-ha, but...
Wait, is a hoo-ha supposed to be just the labia specifically? I thought a hoo-ha was just like the whole package, you know what I mean? Like, I thought it was just like the lady part as a whole, but to each may vary.
I guess if you want to have your Labubu bedazzled, be my guest. Apparently, it's just a stupid toy. But yeah, FOMO leads to impulse spending. We all know that.
I guess I've only ever seen the ones that they kind of show off or whatever, but that definitely looks like Where the Wild Things Are kind of thing entirely. Oh my God. Wow.
But you can't spend what you don't have, right? As if. Buy now, pay later, bitches. Just another way to grift you.
It's like being flexible with your payments. To have an easy way to pay it into chunks. I mean,
you into spending money you don't have on shit you don't need. Oh my God, there are going to be people out there going into debt, buying Labubus with Klarna. They probably already are. And of course, we couldn't talk about fake scarcity and speculative value without acknowledging the wildest pump and dump of our lifetime, cryptocurrency and NFTs. What Stanley Cups were to bottle blonde Mormon housewives, NFTs were to basement
There's not wrong with the Mormon part. Not at all.
Dwelling alt-right neckbeards. Something completely valueless for them to wet their pants over, all in hopes that owning one would make them look special. And yeah, it did. Do all those dweebs know that you can right-click and save any JPEG for free?
That is a funny way to piss them off, is to say right click save as, right? But also nobody wants your fucking ape, dude. It looks like ass. What would a 24 karat gold hoo-ha? I guess that was like from Goldfinger, the James Bond one, because they had the ladies in gold. He would cover them in gold to kill them or something. That was like his thing. It's been a long time since I've seen that fucking, I don't know, 70s, 60s ass movie.
But okay, let's say you're someone like me, a reasonably conscious consumer who doesn't use DoorDash and doesn't pay for unwanted subscriptions and doesn't.
We were able to save, obviously, a big chunk of money by going to get the stuff ourselves. We could have saved more money with the Taco Bell. Also because a lot of times those DoorDash apps, Uber Eats apps, will have a completely modified menu on top of the fees and delivery fee and tip. And obviously you should tip, okay? You're paying a servant to come deliver your slop. You should definitely tip. That person is getting paid nothing. They are a gig economy worker, which is one of the worst layers of work. Your headphone R, as in your right ear, broke today. Can you reply me in chat? I don't know what that means. I feel like you're a bot because you just basically immediately came over here. Here, what does this say? Can you type what this says? Can you type this? Dak 5430. I'm asking you. You see me? Type it up. Type it up. Thanks for the reply me on chat. We didn't reply on chat. I need you to type what this is. You need to tippity type what you see. Type those words in the chat now. Otherwise, you're out of here. Find the traffic light or the motorcycle. Yeah, Waffbot following has nothing to do with that. Also, how the hell would that even help you with your ear? I don't understand what that message is even asked for. Okay.
Buy random crap from Instagram. Maybe you've never owned a Stanley Cup, never bought an NFT, and never got your Labubu bedazzled. You're immune to the grift economy, right? Nope. The grift goes so much further than just fads. It's ingrained in almost everything we do. Like, let's talk about tipping culture. Tips used to be a gratuity, a few extra bucks that you'd leave for your server at a sit-down restaurant if they went over and above to make your experience amazing.
History of tipping culture is an interesting one. I don't know 100% about the full back end of it, but obviously it's used to deny labor to individuals. It's also to sort of put an extra, because there's already multiple guns pointed at anyone's head when they're working a job. Because your healthcare, you like to keep that healthcare, gun to your head. Oh crap! You want to pay your rent, gun to your head. Like, homelessness is bad. We don't take care of them. Your healthcare does not exist unless you have a subsidy. Like, you have to pay through your work as well. Like, there's a cost involved. It's not like it's given to you. And then the customers have this expectation that people need to be like, chip chop, get it there. Come on. Get going. Like, waiting on people hand and foot, smiling. Oh, it's my pleasure. Oh, this is my pleasure. I'm always like, ugh. The few times I've gone to a Chick-fil-A, it's always just like really off-putting when they say that shit, because it's like, it sounds like you're in a cult, but damn, that's a good chicken sandwich. Holy shit, dude. Like, wait. Wow, that's pretty good. So tipping culture obviously has gone beyond the traditional thing. It's gone to the iPad they spin around. But you know those employees aren't getting paid well. It's kind of, I guess it's kind of like the difference between collective action versus like mutual aid and then like systemic change. Systemic change is what's needed to fix the problem as a whole, but holy shit, it's slow going. And what are you going to do? Let them die in the meantime? Like, then you'll have no allies on your side. So I begrudgingly tip most of the time whenever there's a fucking iPad spun at me. I wish I could protest and be like, hey, what's the official rate? This still goes 100% to the employees, right? It's not going a certain percent to the management house and then divides it up, and then like they take half of it and then give it then to the cut or whatever. Like I never give to the charities that they promote, because the charities are corporate scams to give themselves a tax write-off because they are the ones donating the money that you are giving to them and shit. And it's a PR stunt. And like, I don't even know what charity they're usually pushing forward, even if it is a good charity, which there are plenty of good charities. But like nowadays you have to actually look to see what is a good charity, because charity CEOs, nonprofit CEOs, are some of the fucking richest people out there, which is like an incredibly counterintuitive thought process. So I don't fall for that. I've always been cheap enough to avoid that naturally, and then learning that it was another layer of bad, I go, oh, good thing I've already been a cheapskate, and I have not wanted to fall into that. But the tipping for little nothings, it's just like when somebody's there, you know, working hard to provide my slop or whatever it is, I always just feel like, man, I feel bad. You know, this person needs a little something. I guess there's also the weird little greedy part of me that hopes that if they see I did some amount of tipping, that they go, oh, that person's a homie. Let me hook them up with the good shit, whatever that would be. I don't know. I guess that's the naturally, even for those who don't want to do it on principle, might want to get that side benefit.
But quickly, it became a way for not just restaurants, but businesses of all types to offset their employees' pay to the public. Now, everywhere we go, we get screens turned towards us to just ask us a few questions while we're guilted and shamed. And
that's right. Yeah. They go, oh, you just go ahead and answer the prompt on the screen. And it's like
more for everything we do. Here in Toronto, we have a franchise of bakeries that sells freshly baked bagels. So you go in, you grab a paper bag and a pair of tongs, and you put as many bagels in your bag as you want. And then
is this like a we're doing the work for them kind of shit? Is that what it is?
Take them up to the register to pay. The bagels are good, don't get me wrong, but they're not cheap. They're like $11 a dozen, which I think is a lot, but fine. So I was there last week. I mean,
they're probably big. $1 a piece.
A dozen everything bagels, still warm out of the oven, brought them up to the register, and when I went to tap my card, I was prompted to leave a tip for the bagels that I counted and bagged myself. The week prior, I went to see a City and Colour concert, and it was amazing. The tickets were $115 each, and I bought one for myself and one for my friend. Yet
I just banned that chatter, but I wanted to double check. Following since 7 minutes ago. Account created this year. Yeah. Created like 2 months ago, whatever it is. It's a bot. Lady avatar picture. Sure.
somehow the order came out to $277. How'd that happen? $23 worth of service fees per ticket. That's $46.
Hold on, I want to double. My brain was
myself. The weak
Well, so there are people that make the bagels, right? People that clean the bathrooms in the place. There are people that do all kinds of labor inside of this place. But those people should be getting a fair wage. And in Canada, I don't know. I would assume it's better up there. But I don't know if because Canada's just, it's been called America's hat by those smarter than me. And though they have been more liberal than our super conservative thing, they have gotten more conservative over time. And I wonder how bad things are up there, how close they are to our version of things. I mean, I guess if she's stressing about it, then she's feeling guilty. Even those people you feel like are complete assholes who love to complain about this, they still feel guilty because they wouldn't complain about it if it was something completely pointless. If they completely didn't give a shit about it, they wouldn't have anything to say. But they feel that guilt. So there is a chance to save them. There's a human inside of the most, reactionary piece of shit asshole out there. There is still a soul, which is why it's worth talking and it's worth being charitable and working with them and trying to communicate our ideas in new ways to hopefully bring them on. There's a bunch of discourse, not to get on a complete side tangent, but there's a bunch of discourse around people. I saw a thing where it was like, let me see if I can Google it real fast. TikTok lady who at Dems now. I doubt I'll find it, but oh wow, there's a short videos tab now. I'm not seeing the thing I was seeing, or at the very least, is people jumping on top of it. But basically, it was an edit cut of people being like, "Hey, you liberals, haha, fuck you, we hate you, we'll never be there to help you," and then what is supposed to be the same person is then crying because she's in Texas and the floods are really bad. And they're like, Taha, take that, you shithead. You deserve it. And that's not a way to, not that it's supposed to be like the really complete, like boring, when you go low, we go high kind of version of things. But like, we love to laugh when Henry Kissinger dies because fuck that guy. He was a piece of shit. That's still different than pointing and laughing at the poor people who have been misguided. Reveling in the death of their population and say, well, they voted for it. Those kids didn't vote for it, right? It's the same fucking argument that we've said for other things. You cannot give in to that, and you'll never get them on your side when they see you pointing and laughing at their undeserved misery, because even if they are assholes and bad people, they still deserve universal health care. They still deserve social safety nets to keep them safe. And then when they have those things, they'll be less of a bad person. Not entirely fixed outright. You're never going to get rid of shit and assholes, but you got to make sure you maintain your humanity while you're trying to fight for everyone's humanity. Which is a real fucking lame, boring thing to say. And it's fun to be edgy and whatever, but I guess I'm too old for that. I don't know. Save your smoke for the ones in power who do it knowingly. Save your power for the systems in place that fuck people over. The individuals, even those riding for these things, they are not the problem. There are Ben Shapiro types out there who specifically benefit from maintaining and keeping the systems in place So they're going to be people that you can be less charitable to. So when Steven Crowder has a bad life because he's a bad person, you can laugh at him because fuck Steven Crowder. He's a propagandist for the opposite side, and he's done it because it made him money. He literally turned down a $15 million contract, calling it slave labor. How much money was this motherfucker expecting to make and or already making that he was that confident to do that shit? They are behooved to continue the shit system because they got theirs, fuck you, right? The fuck you, I got mine mentality that is going around for a while. But the trailer park people in Houston or whatever, Austin and all these different places that got busted, they are our opponents, but they're not our enemies, I guess, is a way to think about it. And I got here from tip culture. Shit. I support tipping people, but I guess I would never shit on somebody who didn't want to tip. I go, oh, no, it was defining humanity, because complaining about it means you feel bad. You get shown the thing and you say, no tip, zero, haha. You wouldn't give a shit. It's just like every other I agree transaction that you would just not even think about anymore. But because it pisses people off, that means that they have a soul in there. Even the most right-wing person that seems to complain about this shit.
Prior, I went to see a City and Color concert, and it was amazing. The tickets were $115 each, and I bought one for myself and one for my friend. Yet somehow, the order came out to $200.
That's sick, man. That's tight to like hook up your friend with a concert ticket. Also, was that Kid Rock? Hold on, what?
I went to see a City and Color concert.
I guess with the big beam of light and just seeing the stupid hat, I was like, is that Kid Rock? But I guess it wasn't.
And it was amazing.
Because who the hell would go to see Kid Rock? Also, oh no, okay, yeah. That's very different. There's hair, but it's a beard. It's not gross other hair.
The tickets were $115 each, and I bought one for myself and one for my friend. Yet somehow, the order came out to $277. How'd that happen? $23 worth of service fees per ticket. That's 40.
I have not bought a Ticketmaster ticket in a while, but I feel like that's chump change. I don't know. Canada has better regulate. I mean, there was a rule that came out that said like they're gonna fight that, and everyone liked that. Everyone knows this shit is fucking a scam.
$6 in fees for I don't even know what, because I picked the tickets.
The service. They have a whole system where they have a spreadsheet with numbers, and you order it, and that goes to your order number. That whole service, $22 per thing. Okay, whoa.
I bought them online. I didn't interact with a single human. No one provided me with any service of any type.
That server space to deal with that like incredibly small flow of information going in and out. They need to charge $22 per individual transaction, even though it's all happening at once.
My God, do I hate Ticketmaster. Is there a single human alive who doesn't hate Ticketmaster? But wait, it gets better, because just
Ticketmaster CEO. Got it. Oh, wait, she said human. Damn, I'm wrong. Okay.
This past weekend, I went to another music festival out in the boonies. So picture this, okay? I make the drive out to nowhere, Ontario, service fee laden tickets in hand. These tickets were like...
I did not expect her to drop butt fuck nowhere. I did not expect that. That threw me for a loop based off everything else that happened so far in this video.
$200, by the way. And when I finally arrive, I'm told that parking is $40. There wasn't even a parking lot. It was just $40 to park your car in a big muddy field. But fine, there's really no other choice, right? So I reach for my wallet, and I'm told, no, you can't pay here. You have to buy a parking pass online through the festival's website. Seriously?
That sucks. That fucking sucks. Like what? You want me to just stay here in line and pull up an app right now? What?
So, okay, I pull over, I open the website on my phone, and guess what? Not only do I have to give them my contact information and agree to receive their stupid marketing emails that I definitely don't want, but the parking pass has another $13 in service and handling fees. I
mean, that's It's a fucking crime. What the fuck? Lol. Lol indeed. Dude, their zip codes have fucking letters in them? That's wild. I assume, I don't know, is that, I don't know what that is.
Despite there not being any service or handling involved. I don't want your spam emails. I don't want to pay a premium for the privilege of being forced to use your website whether or not I even want to. I just want to leave my goddamn car in this goddamn field and go see my goddamn bands, goddamn it. $53 for parking. Honestly, this video
Oh god, dude. I mean, like, suddenly, like, my faith in humanity dropped just because of that specific type of bullshit. And of course, they do it to... That's like one of the oldest scams out there, where they go, look, it only costs $40. And you go, well, that's still kind of a lot, but okay. Plus processing. And it's like, well, now it's not 40, you ass. What the fuck? You can't just do that to me. Oh, man. Regulation is the answer to this, at least in the short term. Punishments that actually matter. Because right now, this company, the attendance is massive. Every single person. Let's just say they carpool. Every person carpools. So there's a total of 4 people per car. But they're all getting a transaction fee of every one of them, not only on the tickets they buy, but then also the parking thing. I mean, I guess, like, this is the venue wanting to do the Ticketmaster bullshit, but because Ticketmaster can do it on the ticket price and you can't do it, they go, well, fine, we'll get them on the parking. And then everyone's trying to get on the game to devour the population that is supposed to be wanting their service. And when you eat them down to their fucking bones, there's nothing left. It's like one of those situations where you can mistreat your population as a king only so far until they fucking behead you. You know what I mean? Like, you went too far. You got too fucking, you were too high in your own supply, and you've done it now. You've done it now. Go to a website. You have to make an account. You can't even just fucking say, here's my, license plate, and then here's the fucking procking pass. Approve it. Then you got to put a goddamn fee on it. Oh my God. But they know you're already in because you bought the fucking tickets. You drove out to buttfuck nowhere, right? You're done. You're going to be real mad about it, but then you're going to go get high, get drunk, get a sunburn, and then forget all about it because you got to go back to work the next day. And then some other bullshit's going to happen at work to piss you off, and you'll forget about the whole thing. Unless you're going to make a video about it.
Video could easily be an hour long, and I still probably couldn't cover every way that we're being constantly ripped off every day, but let's try a quick rapid fire round, shall we? There's greenwashing, when companies try to make their product look all fancy and eco-friendly, so you're willing to pay more for them, thinking you're doing a good thing, but no, it's all bullshit. There's shrinkflation, when the quantity or the size of a product gets smaller, while the price stays the same or even increases. So like there's less chips in the bag, or the olive oil's now 3/4 of a liter instead of a full liter. I picked up a medium pizza last week and ate the whole thing myself in one go. A medium...
What? Sure, yeah, okay. Normal? Okay, yeah. What? Normal?
pizza used to feed 2 to 3 people. There's the...
They're Canadian. It's different. But they're fat too. They have poutine and all the other stuff. 2 to 3? Well, so like I eat my one burrito. I'm like, oh boy, satisfying. So maybe that's how it's supposed to be. I'm a broken person. I'm working on it, okay?
The gig economy, where massive venture capital-backed companies
Dude. Employees are no longer employees, but they are independent contractors, is one of the biggest ways to destroy the entire system, but rake in the profits along the way. Outsource a large portion of the labor costs onto your labor force, and tell them that they have the flexibility and freedom. They're their own boss, as they don't set prices, don't set bonuses, they don't set incentives. They just wait until you give them the crumbs. They have to beg for their money for, like, when someone pukes in their car and they have to, like, try and jump through hoops and get a cleaning fee attached or whatever. It's just car accidents is like, well, you're on your own. Good luck, buddy. Whoa, you were driving as an independent contractor. You were not an employee under us. So I know that you were, forced to do this and making sure that you get there as fast as possible. And the customers are asking you to make different changes despite the directions on the screen, or the maps were giving you incorrect things. So you deviated from the map because you literally had to. But then we go, oh, well, because you deviated from the map, we're not going to help you. All the different ways that they could just tie you up, wait for, a service representative to get back to you, left you on red, hope that you just forget about it. Garbage. You are not the fucking boss.
Uber and Airbnb and DoorDash make billions of dollars every year by bypassing regulations and dodging liabilities. And
Airbnb is a little different, but it's bad. It's bad. I feel like Airbnb is probably bad for, well, it's bad for the customers first, because you have these weird wannabe Donald Trump hotel moguls that have some kind of place that they're trying to just whip up and turn into a mini hotel. And then you have to, apparently, like, you have to clean the place, and you have to, only do certain things in certain hours or not park in certain places. You have to abide by all these kind of wild rules. And then, like, a hotel, it costs the same, I guess, apparently. And they have employees they pay and all these different things. I'm sure they don't pay them well, which is why they go on strike a lot, but an interesting angle, but to think about. We're like, oh, maybe it's more ethical because you are the cleaning crew. So then you don't feel compelled to tip at the end because you're the one doing all the fucking work. I've heard that it's just tedious, lots of different hoops to jump through, tyrannical owners who might even show up while you're there sometimes. Horror stories about that kind of shit. So I'll probably pass and just stick to a motel or the occasional hotel.
Paying their workers less than minimum wage while systematically offering less and less value to the public at the exact same time. Do you remember when Uber used to be way cheaper than a taxi? Pepperidge Farms remembers. Wasn't that supposed to be the whole point? That it was cheaper, but now it's not? So
that is another one. I remember when Uber first came out, my dad was really mad because they were like illegal because they were, like, in New York, not using the medallion system. But even the medallion system was set up to sort of be a little mini cartel that big rich people would buy the medallions or get them grandfathered in because of a long-standing ownership. And then they would then lease them or sell them to people to use for a period of time. So if the medallion cost them $400 to get, they would then sell it to a person who wants to have their taxi cab, or a taxi cab, firm or company that wants to have taxis in this certain area, and they would sell it to them for $10,000 a year or something. And it's like, but it only costs you $400 to get the, official registration for this thing. But then because you are one of the only people who has one of these things that is very valuable, you then flip around and sell it, but you don't even fucking use it. The idea was supposed to be, we just don't want there to be too many taxis, as if there was not too many taxis in New York, right? What the fuck? And now there's just unlimited number of Uber drivers. Oh, it turns out it didn't matter, actually. Turns out it already didn't matter. It would sort of have its natural flow, because if there was too many taxis, then you were going to have too few rides per taxi, and then you would downsize a bit.
So there are MLMs that lure stay-at-home moms into starting their own business for the low price of just $500, only to stick them with thousands of dollars worth of inventory that they'll never sell because, fun fact, but 99% of people who join an MLM lose money. Yes, for real, 99%. The list of everyday grifts is truly endless, but the real question is, how did we get here? I think a lot of this comes down to the fact that for most of us, at least here in the Western world, we already have everything we could ever need and more. But if we all acknowledged that we don't really need anything else and mostly just stop buying stuff, this giant pyramid scheme we call the economy would collapse and we'd all be in trouble. So instead of redesigning the economy to fit the needs of the people, we just manipulate the needs of the people to benefit the economy.
Pretty clever.
When we no longer have problems that companies can solve with their products, the only way they can continue to rake in record profits year after year is to start creating problems so they can sell us the solutions. So they do.
I'm confused.
And with that, we now live in a world where almost everything is a scam. Pair all of that with a population of...
I thought she was, hold on, I need to replay that back. I thought she was trying to give a solution to the situation by saying, well, we can't change the political mindset of our, economy.
Need anything else and mostly just stop buying stuff. This giant pyramid scheme
I see, hold on.
is truly endless, but the real question is, how did we get here? I think a lot of this comes down to the fact that for most of us, at least here in the Western world, we already have everything we could ever need and more. But
I see.
if we all acknowledged that we don't really need anything else and mostly just stop buying stuff, this giant pyramid scheme we call the economy would collapse and we'd all be in trouble. So
she's saying if we all boycotted the bullshit, if we, voted with our wallets, if you will, they would lament. But then, oh man, the economy would crash. And then we would also be sad and bad. It would be bad for us. I disagree, but I'll go on. I want to see it to fruition here.
instead of redesigning the economy to fit the needs of the people,
Oh, we should do that. But okay, go ahead.
we just manipulate the needs of the people to benefit the economy.
Pretty.
Manipulate the needs of the people to benefit the economy. Food and healthcare and shelter are
Clever.
When we no longer have problems that companies can solve with their products, the only way they can continue to rake in record profits year after year is to start creating problems so they can sell us the solutions.
Is she saying that because we have good housing and healthcare and food, they now have to create problems for us, and that's where we've ended up?
So they do. And with that, we now live in a world where almost everything is a scam. Pair all of that with a population of overworked, underpaid, burnt out people just looking for a little excitement in their day, and the convenience of things like one-click purchase.
Interesting that it's a Tyler Durden thing of all the clips to use. It didn't even seem that compelling, but yeah.
Buy now, pay later, and you have a recipe for exploitation. And I hate to say it, but it's probably only going to get worse.
Also, I have to mention it. I've just been noticing the lens cap, which is a weird looking lens cap, which might not actually be a lens cap, honestly. Like a part of me was thinking that it had something to do with a teleprompter cover, because sometimes those are plates that you would slide into a teleprompter thing, or like a lens extend, or like a thread extender. But it might just be some weird like coaster thing that I'm just not aware of. But for some reason, I thought it was a thing for the camera. Like she sits down, gets her tripod set up on the floor, shoots the video, and then just forgot that the lens cap was in frame. But that may not be what it is, so I'm not sure. As I zoom in, like, well, I don't see the things I would normally expect to see.
But the good news is that you do have some control in all this. The only person who ultimately gets...
Oh, it's not there now. You just have the laptop, the FAP top, and the tissues. Although, I mean, there's a dog, too. Cute dog.
to decide how you spend your money is you. So unsubscribe from email lists that...
Wait a minute. Wait, she got US dollars. Oops. That's cash money. That's US dollars.
To decide how you spend your money is you. So unsubscribe from email lists that tempt you to buy garbage. Unfollow...
Definitely do that. Every now and then I'll hit up my list and I'll just see like, you know what? I've never looked at this thing. I'll either make a rule to push it somewhere in case I wanted to have it archived for some reason, or B, just find the unsubscribe link and just hit it.
Influencers who prey on your insecurities and try to make you feel like what you have isn't good enough. In fact,
Case in mind, 24 karat Labobo.
you know what? Spend less time on social media altogether. Try reading a book instead, or watching a movie, or listening to a full record front to back. Remember when that was a thing? Go for a walk. I don't know, whatever. When you do buy...
Dude, I forgot about listening to an entire album, record, CD. What do we just call them albums still? What do you, so a record front to back, a CD front to back, a playlist, I guess it's just an album still.
Buy less, but better. One really high quality sweater might cost as much as 10 fast fashion sweaters, but it will last you forever, and I promise you that no one needs 10 polyester sweaters. And
Sure. But earlier she said that everything, even the super expensive stores, are fast fashion, so but I guess maybe that's just a hyperbole, and there's going to be a couple that are.
that you can live a tremendous life without ever placing an order on Temu. This one might be controversial, but stop tipping for things that aren't a sit-down service.
Controversial indeed. At one point, when I finished my previous, rebuttal, if you will, to that statement, I was thinking like, man, I'm such a sucker that the next service that comes down the line, anything, right? It's one of those like, what's the next thing to then slide the iPad around and say, hey, there's workers here, right? Somebody's doing something, as always, right? So you always could just pay employees. I mean, there's always been the option for me to go, hey, you, come here. Just shove money in their like in their mouth, or just like push it down their shirt or whatever. There's always the option to do that. But that's weird. But when it's now flipped around as an iPad, that's a little bit more socially acceptable. Like I get my hair cut by a guy locally, and he charges prices. He rents a chair at this place. He charges, based off the type of cut, how much hair it is, whatever. And then at the end of the thing, there's a tip. And I tip him, even though he sets his own prices. So technically, he's paying himself what he thinks is right. But I'm like, here's more, I guess. So maybe that's stupid. I don't know. I'm sure he appreciates it. But this is kind of like, oh man, really thinking about it. This puts me on the other side of the argument of the lesser of two evils, right? Because I was in favor of people pushing back so hard against Kamala Harris that you would try to force them to change the system. Because they changed Biden. We were like, guys, he's gross and old, and he's too old. Fuck you. I know you want him. And even he's like, I'm not going nowhere, Jack. No one's saying that. He's going all, the Mac attack was large and in charge and trying to stay in the seat. But we were all like, fuck you, no. And then they relented. So then when Kamala's like, yo, I'm here, and I got Tim Walz, we were like, okay, nice. This is working out. We've never been so optimistic. And then she's like, actually, I love Israel and lethal military, and we're gonna punch every migrant in the face before we deport them ourselves and build the border wall. We're like, wow, that's the same shit that the other people did. And then they made Tim Walz, put a fucking dog muzzle on and stop him from wanting the good things that he's able to do in Minnesota, Wisconsin. I forget which place. I think it's Minnesota. They're all the same to me. Okay. And then we're like, oh, we are no longer enthusiastic. And actually, her continued lack of wanting to change her stance on the genocide meant that we did not want to support her because we wanted them to make a change, whether she changes that policy or they put somebody in who would, right? So the easy thing to do would be just to change your policy because we don't agree with you and we're showing you why. So now I'm on the side of, well, you got to do it because you got to do it. You got to keep those people employed and paid. And I'm going against the idea of, no, make a stand. If we all do it, they'll have to stop. Damn, that's a tough one. I mean, obviously, there's going to be differences between those two different types of situations. One, we had direct evidence that they were willing to make a change if the pressure was enough. But companies, I think, will just fucking shit on their employees endlessly. And if everybody stops tipping, they go, well, you're not working hard enough, right? That's just what they're going to say to them. And there's a long timeline between, wow, there's these months where tipping is a little bit lower or a little bit lower and a little bit lower. Are we going to change our fucking financial payout policies? We're still in the third quarter of this year, so not yet, you know, like all these different things. And then they'll just do layoffs instead. They'll do, I figured they were going to, they're not, neither is the Democratic Party, but they're not a trustworthy adversary or a person that you're talking to. It's too uncoordinated and sporadic, and it just ends up being you just kind of snubbing someone. But then again, like I don't know the fucking pay structure. It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. My empathy is like struggling with my cheap side, who wants to just not tip ever, right? I would love to just never tip. Oh my God. If things just cost what they cost, that would make things so much easier. Fuck me.
The more passive we all are about this, the more widespread it's going to become. This isn't really about the $2 extra at Starbucks. It's about the fact that it's not your responsibility to pay Starbucks employees for them, and making you coffee is not exceptional service. It's just their freaking job.
Yeah. It is their job. That sentence just rings dirty because it's like people would be rude and make a mess in the boys' bathroom in like middle school or high school. And they go, or they would leave their fucking slop all over the fucking lunchroom table or something. And you go like, hey man, that's like gross. What the fuck? And they go, that's what they pay fucking, janitors for. What do you mean? That's what they pay them for, to do their job. Do your job. And it's like, well, it doesn't have to be harder. And it would be a little bit nicer if, you just kept your area clean and you put your chairs in, and like there's always going to be something around to clean, a spilt thing, someone pukes somewhere. Like there's always problems that they need to be there to do. Also just natural everyday dust and trash that they empty from trash cans, all the different things that they do all the fucking time. But now they got to like deal with the disgusting shit that you just leave on the, oh man, it sucks. There's people that leave the table with it being a disaster. My mother was a waitress. My wife was a hostess. I used to work at a fast food restaurant that had a lobby. So some of these things are taught to me when I was a kid, but also through direct experience. Like people would come into the lobby with their children and they would just leave the place just completely fucked. Mashed up chicken fingers, just crumbs all over the chairs, the booths, the table, the floor, trash all over it, and it's like napkins and busted up sauce containers, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like, okay, you're tired and exhausted as a parent. I'm not a parent, but oh my god, I could never. Like when we finish at a table, but they haven't like cleared plates or whatever, we stack them, put them up. Yo, what's up? Hirio Shirili. I'm borderline illiterate here. I'm describing how I don't like the statement of that's their doing their freaking job. That's their job. How kids used to be gross and make a mess. Kirio is fine. Sweet. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes there's a couple of people that have come through that have like a wild name, and I just pick like either the front or the back that I can Just pick out. You'll know if I'm talking to you, right? Yeah. Also, it's not like the chat is like flying by right now. Inappropriate innuendo. Oh, I can read that one. Also, it helps whenever things have specific capitalization. That way you can see the break in the words. So, welcome in. What drove everybody here? What the hell? A sudden bump in viewership. I should have my viewership on my frame or my screen somewhere, but oh my god, now there's a sudden burst of people. Chat is moving too fast. I can't read it. No. Yeah. So I was describing how she's mad and justifiably mad about tipping people for making a Starbucks coffee. The old flip the iPad around and say, "Oh, I need you to take a look at this real quick." And it's just, how much do you want to tip? 0, comma, I'm an asshole, or anything more. And the idea of it's just doing their freaking job. Because people used to say, like, oh, I can leave the bathroom or the lunchroom a complete mess because that's their job. They should just do their freaking job or whatever. And it's like, that's not their entire job, is cleaning up after you. And you shouldn't make it an extra mess just for the sake of it. And then I was elaborating how my mom taught me, because she was a waitress, and then I've also worked service jobs here and there, to just like, even like you stack your glasses and you try and wipe the table down from excess crumbs, and they're still going to wipe it down, but it just makes it a more pleasant process because you kind of like halfway bust your own table, just because, like, why wouldn't you do that? So I get what she's saying, but just that sentence, brings up an old painful memory.
And no, I'm not tipping you when you ring me up for the bagels that I bagged myself. For that matter, you know what? Learn to cook at home. You don't have to be the next.
I wonder what she thinks about self-checkout. They shame to make extra profits. Yeah. It devalues shame, and you can't use shame to limit unwarranted behavior. So that's an interesting point. I was saying earlier when they were talking about the topic during the when it was a part of the video, it's just kind of more like a summary part. But even the person that you think is kind of like the most far gone and rude and mean, they will still complain about the iPad spinning, which to me means that there's still something in there that you can save, even if they seem like they don't appreciate, trans people or LGBTQ rights or people in Palestine or whatever it is. The fact that they get mad about the flipping of the iPad and having to say no and then tap their card to pay or whatever. If they didn't have shame, if they didn't have a soul in there, it would be like a thing that they just do, like when they say, I accept the terms and move on. They wouldn't even think about it. It would just be so fast. But they feel that shame, even though they don't ever seem like they have any shame, which emboldens me to want to find ways of communicating to them to get them to change their view on society, the view on people, the view on politics, the view on it all. It gives me hope that, because everybody feels, I haven't met a person who's like, you know what? I fucking love it. I love this. I love making somebody's day. Maybe like a super rich person's like, yeah, I can make it rain. 35% tip. Whoa. Yeah. But yeah. And also I, as a bit of a neurotic individual, I have like, oh, wait, before I, think about tipping, I'm like, is this a proper, 100% goes to the people? Is there a certain tip out to the guys in the back versus the front? Like, how is this structured so that way I know the different, moral standing of what this is supposed to be? Because I was saying before, I never do the like, oh, do you want to save? You want to add an extra $1 to pay for this person's lunch or something? And I'm like, no. Like that's a scam, right? Wage theft is only theft when employees earn too much money. Well, technically it's theft when they do weird shit to specifically not pay employees, which is still the number one form of theft out there. Despite you think to yourself, like, just no way it's that prevalent, but oops, it is. Yep. On top of already criminally underpaid wages and lack of benefits and all the other shortcomings that happen, they're still just straight up illegal, making them work off the clock level things. There might be some loophole to how they're like figuring out how to get that number big, but still, the fact that it's handsomely the number one out of all, like, oops, you know, someone stealing a candy bar, or even the people smashing and grabbing in a big, you know, TV news salivating type of, you know, robbery, pales in comparison to corporate theft of its workers. So, but then getting those other people who you think will never be on your side to understand that they're the ones that get scared and they turn on the TV and see, oh, you gads, have you seen this one CCTV video of a person just walking out of a Walgreens? I couldn't believe it. Right. That's the number one thing on their mind. So I just got to figure out how to hopefully share that frame of reference with them, because there's a much bigger problem at hand, but they only care about the small thing. And that person is driven to crime via socioeconomic principles, because et cetera, lack of a future they can see for themselves, no social safety nets, already in a form of desperation, maligned by society and those around them. It's a bit depressing, but there's hope. There's hope. They have shame. It's in there.
Next Gordon Ramsay, but being able to feed yourself decently well is a basic life skill that everyone should have.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Let me know.
I'm a bit of an optimist. I'm a bit of a... I want to see the best in people, even the worst people. I've been called a humanist by somebody, which is a term I never knew about before, but it's just like, I believe in humanity in a sense. Our ability to transcend and to get through it no matter what. We'll see, I guess, if we can. It's going to be a long road.
Know in the comments if you'd like to see a video with some easy, budget-friendly recipes. If you do get takeout, call the restaurant directly, place your order, and go pick it up. Screw
DoorDash, yeah, for sure. Use the apps of the places. Pickup orders are just as convenient. Sometimes you just need to do that delivery. Sometimes you just got to get that delivery, and you got to get your fucking soggy ass meal with sweaty drinks. They usually, for one reason or another, they always seem to forget the drinks whenever we do a delivery. Like, it would be the most consistent thing that they would like forget the drinks. And that's usually the one thing that like Kara really wanted, was like this type of like, you know, oh look. Not that we've done McDonald's recently, but just the top of mind example would be like, oh, I want the Shamrock Shake, so let's get some stuff from McDonald's. Again, BDS. We haven't ordered McDonald's and I couldn't tell you how long. But as an easy example, then like you get the order, but then like there's just no drink tray with it, and you go, damn it. And then you say, hi, McDonald's, the order, it didn't have the thing. They go, oh, well, you got to call DoorDash and have them do it. And you go, oh, and then you go, okay, fine. Then you go to DoorDash's website app, look for the fucking phone number. You can't find it. Finally find something and try and call it. And they go, oh yeah, you got to talk to McDonald's. We're not going to give you money. And they go, what the fuck? Who the fuck is supposed to, you know, just give me a goddamn refund for this like $3 thing? Fuck. Well, I guess more like a $5 thing, but you get the idea. Okay. Interesting video. I wouldn't say I never watched this creator before, so it's kind of neat that seems like a new channel that is popping off, right? They've got 100,000-ish views almost every video. Well, one's a little bit lower, but pretty good. How much I make with 100K subs? Wait, what? Huh? Well, hold on. Oh, she has much more videos than that. Okay. I thought she had 5 videos, but the very first one was how much money I make. I was like, how the hell? How did you get? How did that work? That's an interesting question, actually. But she lives in Canada, so it might be different. But as a person who just got laid off and wants to find a outside the box way of making money for himself, I would love to see some analytics. I'll add this to watch later. But what I wanted to watch was this. This is a good example of something that would be something that those people should be more concerned about than the traditional, you know,
There is a
theft or whatever.
force in our meat industry.
Let me just close that out. All right, so this is the More Perfect Union. I love these guys. They make amazing stuff in general. Most corrupt corporations in the world is taking over our food supply. Wait, that was a... Oh. I guess I was looking at the other title from the thumbnail, which is different. And we grab this. This way it'll be pinned in chat. So I do my little button here. Ta-da. So it's pinned in chat, and it's also going to be inside of the Discord channel. That is inside our community Discord, !Discord, if you'd like to join. But all the videos we watch end up inside this thing. So again, easy to find the videos and support them. And also you might be like, whoa, man, there's one video I saw a long time ago. Thought it was neat. Don't know what it was. You could just kind of search around for it.
That you don't even know about.
This is the biggest story in food.
Josley and Wesley Batista.
Already under investigation for corruption.
This is the biggest story for anyone who eats.
The Brazilian meat packer JBS has
This is a day ago. Damn. I thought, okay, shit.
been steadily taking over the American meat industry for
years. The
years.
world's largest meat producer, Brazil's JBS.
This is a company that has been plagued with scams.
Oh, I thought JBS was a different company because... So yesterday I brought up this older thing. So this must have been around for a while. I brought up my little mini rant that I do on Hormel, and just how America fails to protect its consumers and just people in general. So I have to click option 2 because this first link is busted. And there's a little, the star didn't used to have a paywall, but now it does. But Hormel Foods settling a price fixing lawsuit, $11 million. Hormel Foods would pay more than $11 million for class action lawsuit alleging the company worked with other pork producers to illegally fix prices and overcharge customers. The proposed settlement in a court in Minneapolis, blah, 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 will see the company end litigation without admitting fault. Without admitting fault. They pay some money to the different places, so a little bit to institutional customers like restaurants, wholesalers, and then some to customers. I don't know. I never heard anybody making money off that. But they said the deal provides compensation that will be available for years earlier than if litigation against Hormel Foods continued through trial and appeal. So our government is the one that filed this plaintiff, or they're the ones that brought this case to bear to try and hold this company accountable. They get to end it for $11 million and say, no fault admitted. The lawsuit launched in 2018, but the lawsuit itself actually goes back to about the scheme, according to the complaint, began in 2009. Oh, there's where that picture loads up. So they've been doing this shit for a long time. And just cursory look at the value of Hormel and their revenue and their money. 2007, 2008, 2009. Oh, a bit up. Oh, up. And this is before COVID, where they really went crazy. So they're not only doing a super illegal thing, creating a cartel, limiting supplies to artificially limiting supplies to then increase demand, to then malign or specifically just the fixed prices. It's supposed to be capitalism. They're already getting subsidies for being one of the largest, providers of it is. But on top of that, it's not good enough for them. They have to then fucking fix the prices. They were in leagues and working with all the different big companies. I think it was inside this one. Yeah, they were working with Tyson, JBS, Smithfield, and others. I think they go down even more. I thought JBS was like Jim Beam or whatever. Maybe that's, oh no, wait. Jimmy Dean was the one I'm thinking of, so that's wrong. JB would be Jim Beam is like a alcohol or something. So I didn't understand what JBS was. I thought it was just an acronym for the other company. But yeah, not only are they doing an illegal thing, they're then caught doing the illegal. It wasn't even like they came to us and said, guys, look, we have to come clean. We've been doing this thing. Give us a punishment. Come on. Like, we had to catch them and then build a case for like a decade plus. And then they pay $11 million and say, we did no wrongdoing. The system is not, It's not for us. It's not for us. So this is JBS. This is the company that I didn't realize I was covering earlier.
Industry for
The
years.
world's largest meat producer, Brazil's JBS.
This is a company that has been plagued with scandal.
Look at all of the recalls. Look at the child labor. Look at the payoffs and settlements.
Investigating whether Brazilian inspectors were bribed to clear tainted meat for export.
Price fixing allegations, wage fixing allegations, environmental desecration allegations, discrimination in their plants.
Despite all of that, the company just debuted on the New York Stock Exchange.
You are turning a criminal actor loose on American investors. This makes zero sense.
The government seems to have taken this step.
Well, I mean, in theory, but like, come on,
back from its regulatory authority. They've chosen cheap meat. Cheap meat wins over pretty much anything else in America.
But what is the real cost of cheap corporate meat? And what could it mean for the food we depend on?
Problem is right now we have set this up for a major collapse.
You're standing in front of our Angus Wagyu cross calves. We have a couple thousand head in this feedlot. Well, for an independent rancher, this is a good size operation, but in comparison,
I thought Wagyu was cattle that is from that specific province in Japan. I know that maybe that's Kobe versus Wagyu or whatever. That's how they break it up. It's like sparkling wine versus champagne.
comparison to the industry, it's extremely small. The biggest,
like 1,000 specialty Japanese cows that are supposed to be some of the finest quality. Doesn't sound like a small operation, but still, I'll let them go.
feeders now are 100,000 head plus operations.
Mike Calicrate is an independent rancher. In over 30 years of ranching, he's seen just how much the industry has.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone a lot of plant-based foods just because they store better. They don't stink up the fridge. They're easier to heat, reheat. You know, lots of these just logistical things. And then there's the side benefit of like, oh, look, you're helping reduce some certain amounts of methane and water usage. And I figure these, it's like, oh, sick, nice. It's nice to kind of get a win-win sometimes.
Changed and gotten worse for small producers like him.
Out of this very facility, I used to sell to 20 meat packers at any given time, and that got down to 0. Why is it that U.S. ranchers are going out of business? It's for lack of market access.
Mike now operates.
Sure, I guess as a humanist, I usually support humans over. But yeah, I mean, also like the factory farming thing of like treating them like shit. That sucks. That's not good. I don't know if it's better enough to be like, treat them nice and then shoot them in the head. Like, okay, well, that's, I guess fucking, like it's still kind of one of those conundrums where it's like, oh, okay, well, weird to do that. Yeah. Although vegan is like, you can't eat cheese because the way it's been explained to me is that fundamentally there has to be like a consent to eating. So that's why like they say like blowjobs and swallowing cum is considered vegan still, because you have consent to accept the material or whatever, which is a very complete, intense way to bring up veganism. But yeah, yeah. The dairy industry is bad. See, now that's a fair point. But like if you're out there with your family cow churning butter, I mean, maybe they're like, hey, but like that cow still didn't consent. I don't know. But yeah, you're right. It's the goal is to get rid of the negative treatment. So
Operates
yeah.
Ranch Foods Direct, a vertically integrated meat business focused on local, ethical, and sustainable meat production.
As far as the number of folks in the U.S. that do what we do at Ranch Foods Direct, which are basically pasture to plate, there's hardly any.
Pasture to plate. That means Ranch Foods Direct raises the cattle, slaughters them, then processes and packages for direct sale. But that is not.
I would, because that was the thing. So there was medical marijuana in Florida, and when you go to the dispensary or whatever it is, they love talking to you about all kinds of things. And they were explaining how Florida is unique, or at least the rules make it different than other places, if it's not entirely unique, but they have to be 100% vertically done. So they have to grow it, collect it, process it, cook it, so if you're going to buy gummy bears from them, they have to be involved in the entire process from start to finish. If you're going to get a vaporizer from them, it has to be entirely made by them from start to finish, which then kind of creates these hurdles for smaller places to get involved, and also inconsistencies, especially if you're going from place to place, because this place might be really good at growing, but not as good at like turning it into vape oil or something. But you can't utilize their great grow and then have someone else who's great at making vape oil. But that could also just be a capitalist mindset where like you want to like isolate each individual part of the business, but like forcing it entirely to be that way seems to be, at least to some, trying to prep it for complete corporate takeover, because they don't want the little guy to get involved. They only want the big ones. Yeah. That's kind of a running theme in a lot of things, unfortunately. And it's been a running theme for a very long time, and it might continue to be. But we're fighting against it, one fucking YouTube video at a time.
For most producers,
the biggest challenge in the production of livestock, if you're going to be selling meat, is that slaughter piece.
That slaughter piece, the processing and packaging that happens before meat reaches customers.
It sure doesn't look appetizing, I'll tell you that much. It sure looks horrifying when you show a bunch of gray slabs of, bloodless carcasses cut in half.
Is where just a few big meat packers are able to set pricing and squeeze the ranchers selling them cattle. Because of
I've been able, like, I was a guy who always, like, people like, oh, make my steak bloody, or just liking steak in general, and I would be like, well, I kind of, medium, I guess, is what I started doing. But I was just I was a McDonald's kid, so like I like a McDonald's burger, which is like cooked gray, 100% processed to hell. So like a lot of these like more like pure meaty things where it's like a steak that bleeds a bunch, or even a burger that like is juicy and like red and it's bleeding or whatever, and I'm just like, ew, gross. I don't like that. I would rather eat a chicken nugget than a chicken wing, because a chicken wing has got cartilage and weird vein things and tendons, and like it's fine, but it's like, this is grosser than just a thing that's been ground up. I can't wait for factory produced meat, like stem cells next to a piece of breast meat or whatever. It grows new breast meat. You just did also like, it's like it would win capitalism, right? Because you have to have chickens fuck or inseminate them. Then you got to like have the eggs, you got to grow them, and then you got to feed them, and they're like way too small, and you got to feed them for a long time, give them water, and they get sick, and you got to give them medicine, and it's like, what a big fucking waste. You got to feed them all these calories to then build up their bodies, when you can just pay this, you can just buy the individual cells to then turn them into the meat itself. Bada bing, bada boom. You're playing God, I guess, but when haven't we played God? What the hell? Like, look at a skyscraper. What do you mean? It would be a much more ethical way to eat that meat. And then it would also, I guess it's kind of like the Squidbillies episode where there's like the chicken that is made out of 1,000 wings and its blood is like blue cheese or whatever. No brain tissue. It's better. I agree. That's what I was thinking. It was like, and even if it's not exactly 100% like actual meat and it's closer to a plant-based meat thing, but it's a combination and whatever, I'm sure I'd try it. I mean, whatever. I would hope that nowadays, I would hope that other countries test it first, just because I don't trust America as much as I used to, for sure. So I would want the EU to take a crack at it, because they at least have some baseline protections to keep things from giving their population straight up cancer. So, yeah. China. If China says it's okay, I trust them. Because they kill billionaires over there if they fuck around and find out. Like, if they go, oh, look, you intentionally did a baby formula thing and, like, a couple of kids died, execution. I'm not even a fan of capital punishment. I don't think that makes sense, and it's not a good thing to have, because when you open up that door, it'll always be open. And just do life in prison if you're going to do death. But I do think that if you were ever to make exceptions, it would make sense, because like one guy, you know, does a robbery at a convenience store and it goes wrong and killed somebody. Death penalty. That's like an isolated incident and an isolated crime, compared to I am a person who runs an industry and I signed with my pen intentionally to then poison an entire population, or perhaps even the world, like PFOEs or the opioid crisis. And it's like, you have done damage to the entire planet, and humanity has now been held back because of what you've done. In America, no wrongdoing, sign it away. Purdue family is all set and good to go. In China, they execute them, you know?
Consolidation in the industry,
Whoa.
ranchers have basically no other option but to accept, a problem Mike has been speaking out on for 30 years.
Because we only have 3 packers in the business today basically setting the price, we've decoupled supply and demand. So you don't have a high level of competition out there that will pay you a premium for your cattle.
Back then, the Brazilian meat processing giant JBS wasn't even in the U.S. market. But now,
JBS is our biggest meat company in the world, and they're essentially a predator in the industry.
I just can't help but, because I come from a tier production background, so I just always like when people are like, what the fuck are you, what is that? Why is there a camera on the floor? What are you shooting? Why is there a camera on the floor? And they're just workers, but they're just like, what the fuck are you doing? I can't get over it. It's funny.
Essentially a predator in the industry.
JBS is a particularly concerning company because there's been a history of over a decade of different bribes, over 1,800 politicians in Brazil.
Chloe Sorvino reports on the food industry and the titans who run it, like the billionaire brothers behind JBS.
Joesley and Wesley Batista took over their family's meat packer in their 30s, and they set their sights on going abroad.
I mean, hopefully she has a remote start car or something, because if your job is to investigate a gigantic multi-billion-dollar, field, they're coming after. Why isn't your face blurred and your voice changed? Whoa, are you sure you're going to be out here? Whoa.
As big as possible. And so they looked at the U.S. to acquire assets on the cheap, and they ended up using bribes and a kickback-fueled corruption scheme to finance loans that helped them get some of the most iconic American meatpacking assets. They've pled guilty to foreign corruption practices and had to pay fines, have even had some jail time in Brazil.
Chloe's book, Raw Deal, traces...
Wow, they even get jail time in Brazil. We just pulled up because JBS was the fucking thing. not fines, yeah. I'm not sure if you were here when because I had... At one point I saw this story just fly by on like a news feed where Hormel was caught fixing pork prices, and among the other people was Tyson Foods and JBS, and at least one more, Smithfield, I think was the other one. But it seems like Smithfield may have been bought by them, or at least one branch of them. I don't know. Business. But they got caught fixing prices since 2009. Profits are high, caught doing something illegal, and they get to say, no wrongdoing, we'll pay $11 million, just $11 million, cost of doing business, where it just literally is the point where it just behooves them to do crimes. And if they get caught, then they just pay a fine. And the fine is nowhere close to going to put a dent in the profits they made by doing that crime as an opportunity cost versus not doing that crime. If anything, they have a fiduciary responsibility to try and increase profits as much of their shareholders, which then means that they are, like, under penalty of law, basically told to break the law, because that's the most profitable thing they can possibly do. So it's It's a system that needs to be fucking completely unended.
The Batista brothers' rise and broader consolidation in America's meat industry.
To take a step back, America's antitrust regulations with the DOJ are created around this idea that the top 4 players in an industry, if those top 4 players have around 20 to 25% control together, that's a highly consolidated industry. And in the beef industry, you have 80 to 85% with the top 4. In pork, you have more than 70% control by the top 4, and in chicken you have over 60% control by the top 4. So that pretty much impacts.
So if that's highly consolidated, what do you call this? Is it just completely consolidated? Like, what do you mean?
Any American that is buying meat.
And JBS's IPO could just make all of that worse.
JBS.
Oh my God. Yeah. So the company I used to work for, Home Shopping Network, which I am not allowed to besmirch in a way that, although I have the exception that I'm allowed to tell the truth. So the company, I was told that because their stock price got so low, it got under $1, which means that they were threatened to be taken off of the stock exchange. And I was thinking like, okay, that sounds like a good thing, because we are constantly having to do this profit seeking every quarter. Needs to be more profitable than the previous quarter, which is just not a sustainable way to run a business. So I'm like, I don't know, like, you know, they say if we'll go off of the stock if it's under $1 for too long. And I'm like, and then what happens? Like the entire company explodes, or we just become a privately owned company again and no longer beholden to shareholders? That sounds awesome if that's the case. Like, you know, tell me the next step, because I want this to happen. I think it would be good for us. A truthful statement that is not a lie is that the company would have McKinsey and other, consultants come in. And it's a thing that as like a lower person in a company, I never understood, because it's like, okay, we have executives that are here to be smart business people, to run this business. They have the business degrees, and they're the ones that run our business. And as the way that they run the business, they go, I'm going to hire somebody to tell me what to do about business. And they pay millions of dollars for a company to come in and say, fire people and make the remaining employees do double the work for no extra cost. And they go, brilliant, brilliant. Here's your millions of dollars. I'll keep being the guy who's paid to come up with the plans for the business and getting paid my millions of dollars. And all of you guys, you know, do more work and you're all fired. And it's just like, huh? Wait, why do you exist? If you're just going to hire this company to come in and tell you what you should do, why are you there? Why isn't this just a gig economy job that we bring in people every now and then, but otherwise don't have you? Like, what? Why? Because you're the smart one that picked the right company to do that? It makes no sense. And then, you know, oops, company's not profitable and they have to lay off a whole state worth of employees. Okay. Oops. Who could have seen this coming?
Trading means that it's going to have access to
all true, not
US
besmirching.
Investors and pension funds and all of these funds that are pouring more money in, and they will be able to finance better loans. They will be able to have more capital to do whatever they want with.
That means more money to fuel their acquisition spree, further consolidating the market, giving more power to the packing companies and less to the farmers and ranchers whose livestock will eventually end up there.
For American food producers, it means that JBS is not going away anytime soon.
I think it is important to look at the sheep industry as the canary in the coal mine, and I can tell you what will happen to the beef industry if we don't take action now.
Carson Jorgensen is a 6th-generation lamb rancher in Utah.
This was it. I guess there's not as many people now as there used to be with that connection and those roots, and it just makes for a different dynamic.
In 2001, Carson's family joined roughly 150 sheep ranching families that banded together to leverage their own power against the big meat packers.
Mountain States Rosin Co-op was a family-owned operation just prior to COVID. MSR was having some difficulties.
In 2020, as restaurants shut down and production lines stalled across the country, Mountain States Rosin filed for bankruptcy.
That being said, they had a buyer to come in and buy the plant. That was the plan. There was a Canadian company that was going to come in and buy it and process American lamb and keep.
This is like a child of the owners of this big company. Did I miss what the guy in the cowboy hat? And I guess it's and the thing about ranch owners is not the most descriptive, but just because, yeah, I mean, them all banding together, taking collective action is great, but it's a bunch of bosses coming together to take collective action, which is like, maybe not as great. I don't know. It's difficult. It's coming from More Perfect Union, right? But it's also like, I mean, there's maybe one of those situations where there's like a bad guy and then a much worse bad guy. So like,
Keep it here in the United States, and
because these workers are the ones that were shit on and fucked over during COVID and died, where people were like taking bets on how many of them would die or whatever, or just, I remember it was just contract COVID specifically, but I remember there was some crazy stories about the people having to do the meat packing during the pandemic.
That was the plan. Well, JBS owns the plant across the street. And JBS's contract with MSR was for the wastewater management and for the steam that it takes to run the plant. JBS wouldn't transfer over the wastewater contract and the steam contract to the new buyers because ultimately they wanted that plant, and they knew if they couldn't sell the plant, it would go defunct and they would end up with it. And that's exactly what happened.
Hey, look, Aramark, if you've ever been to a college or a university, it was a 6th generation rancher, got it. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, rancher, it may not mean like they own the big meat packing, company overall, I assume. But yeah. So yeah. Just owns the land and I guess the workers, or pays the workers to help tend it if it's big enough that they would need, which usually you would. Anyway, Aramark is the company that has a deal with basically every university to sell their food. So the crappy cafeteria food. I'm a dude who'll eat slop. I like gas station, like 7-Eleven in America, 7-Eleven, pizza and hot dogs and shit. Like I'll eat. I'm from Florida. I'm just a giant human raccoon. But even I was like, this is some dog shit. Like this is some messed up, not that good food. Like their pizza they even give you, and it's like, this is the best pizza you can make. It's pizza, man. It's supposed to be one of these things that's like you can't mess up. It's pretty bad.
After JBS converted the plant into a beef facility, sheep ranchers across the West were left with very few options for regional processing.
That was really a critical piece of infrastructure for us producers here in the Western United States.
You'd think that like a big thing that processed sheep would then change over to a different thing, would then make their sheep valuable. But I guess it's more the processing of the sheep valuable, not the sheep themselves. Okay.
Many opted to go to Double J in Texas.
God, they're fucking cute. Oh. I don't even eat lamb. I mean, I guess I've eaten gyro is made with lamb, I think. At least some of them are.
A family-owned processing plant more than 1,000 miles away for producers in Utah, Wyoming, and Idaho. But Double J is now also at risk of closing, once again leaving ranchers with alarmingly few options for selling or processing their meat and scrambling for solutions.
It's like watching a car crash in slow motion. It's coming. You know the train's about to hit that car, and everybody's yelling and everybody's screaming, but there's just a lot of people sitting there watching it happen, and there's not much anybody's doing about it.
JBS going public would be the final nail in the coffin.
AJ Richards is an entrepreneur promoting regional meat systems.
Now for us, it's more of the mentality, it's better to have and not need than to need and not have.
AJ has
a bucket of chicks.
been vocal with his concerns about what JBS going public could mean for ranchers and for our food supply.
Mr. President, I love you, I appreciate you. It is our job as citizens to hold you accountable, and whoever you've got in your circle.
He's an op. He didn't film vertically. He's not in his F-150. This is not real. This is manufactured.
They ain't speaking truth because you're about to put us in a whole world of hurt.
As the big meat processing plants have grown larger and gained greater control over pricing, it's become increasingly difficult for any alternative supply chain to compete.
We can't lose one more farm and ranch, and in fact, stopping the loss isn't what we have to do. We have to make a path so that more people can get into farming.
Most of the people I grew up with, they've gone bankrupt. The family farms they're not family farms anymore, which is sad.
JBS has been trying to go public for years now, but the company's alarming track record has prompted bipartisan efforts to block them from accessing U.S. capital markets.
Huh. Interesting. I would normally think that they would both be on board for scammers. I wonder what it is about this company being scammers that they were so against.
Including a 2024 letter to the SEC signed by Cory Booker, Marco Rubio, Josh Hawley, and more.
Monitoring, watching this whole JBS.
Bernie.
IPO for the last couple of years. I was happy to keep seeing it get shut down.
But this April...
Wait. Hold on. To block them from accessing US. Okay.
Capital.
I thought it was saying that these are people signing that want to bring it in.
Markets, including a 2024 letter to the SEC
Right.
signed by Cory Booker, Marco Rubio, Josh Hawley.
Okay, yeah. People you would not, Josh Hawley, Marco Rubio, and then Cory Booker, and Bernie. You wouldn't think those people would be shaking hands on shit.
For the last couple of years, I was happy to keep
And Warren. It's no longer 2020 primary. Warren can still do good things.
Get shut down.
But this April, the SEC finally greenlit their listing on the New York Stock Exchange.
JBS got the green light only a few weeks after they did give this big donation to the Trump administration.
Oh. So the SEC was being given a letter by Congress or Senate or whatever, legislative branch to be like, yo, you shouldn't do this. And they were like, fine, we won't. But it's not for them to decide. It's just the SEC to decide. And that makes sense because of the sudden change in leadership on that and department heads and all that stuff. Oh no. That's bad.
And so, big surprise. A few months later, now the people that donated $5 million are going public and nobody's standing in their way.
Is a donation like that a quid pro quo? I'm not sure I can be the judge of that, but what I can say is...
Who can definitely be the judge of the parliamentarian. Oh, sorry, the Republicans said that they don't care about them. Yeah. I've never been more convicted in my, like, I think just most meat is just kind of gross, full of cartilage and hard bits and fat, and it's kind of gross. And then, like, even cooking it, it's just like such a hard process. We were doing 4th of July and we had some frozen veggie dogs and some Boca burgers in our freezer, and they were definitely, well, the meats can be frozen for a really long time, but they can get kind of weird. These were not weird, and even when we cooked them, there wasn't like just this pile of like grease and disgustingness, and our kitchen wasn't, coated in a sheet of stuff. And you put all the accoutrements on a burger and you eat it, and it's fine. It tastes good. Well, half a burger is not even the meat, Yeah, so it's like, okay, cool. Fine, fuck it, yeah. But I imagine there's going to be a version of this, because, like, it's not like we are in love with our produce makers as well, right? Like, I imagine they're just as, in their own ways, a ladder of evil that constantly climbs higher and higher. It's an interesting perspective to look at, because usually the idea of like a small business is like a small business tyrant kind of thing, where it's work that's not really your traditional form of work, but like definitely ranching and farming on these more individual based levels, there's definitely way more, way closer to what you would consider to be an ethical or even just like a good thing for the for everybody. And then seeing them talk about how they're watching all of their neighbors' businesses, aka their farms, go out of business. It's like, okay, that does kind of suck. And they're out in the middle of Utah, so it's not even like it's a crowding thing or like too many other there's nothing but open land, where these are states where the livestock outnumber humans, right? So even the few humans that are out there can't. It's gotten so far down. It's just been so incestuous in its form of just like profit over everything that it's chewing up even the most like scarce amount of human zones we have. Ugh. Rough.
This is clearly a company and 2 billionaire top shareholders.
Hey, Joe Biden was there clapping and having a good time. He called him a fascist and said that he, was unfit for office. But he didn't know where he is, honestly. So
Others who have pled guilty and have a clear history of bribery, kickbacks, and corruption schemes.
Regardless of how they got there, JBS is now a publicly traded company, and that could spell danger for our food supply.
Meat packers say that they have these massive plants so that they can have cheap meat made as most efficiently as possible. But at the end of the day, they're also creating this kind of underlying vulnerability because it's super fragile. I mean, if one plant goes out, one feedlot goes out, or a few of them go out because of a hurricane or extreme weather or, a pandemic, this is a system that has no life preservers.
So anyway, the carcasses come down and they go into the cut room here.
Hold on. I thought that was the end of the video. I didn't realize there was going to be a little bit more. 6 months? How is there a stock price for 6 months of it? Oh, this must be the Brazilian market? Oh, I don't know enough about this shit. Envy, okay. You know what? Sure. I don't know. I mean, this logo looks right. That's what the logo looks like was from the thing. Yeah, it's like, you know what? It's not my area of expertise. I was wondering what it would look like.
The industry's consolidation and predatory behavior from companies like JBS have made it increasingly difficult to build alternative food supply chains.
This is the place that the real investment occurs as far as meat processing. This is a vacuum packaging machine.
Just a death factory. Just spinning giant blades and corpses. Incredibly insane knives that are like wicked sharp and meat hooks.
With a labeler, $135,000. The room is just full of this kind of equipment. And this is why not everyone can do what we do here in processing.
Which is also one of those things that I'm a bit of a nerd, and then I also come from a deep contrarian background where I want to be the guy. If someone's saying something, I'm gonna be against it, basically. So everyone was like, "We don't like processed food," and I was like, "I love processed food." Right? I was the kid who was like, "You say women's rights, I say men's rights." Right? I was the piece of shit. I would commonly say to my friends and loved ones nowadays that like when I was 20 years old, I was the worst version of myself I've ever been. But places that can have super expensive equipment and then process and produce, whether it's meat or like the gigantic tractors that are incredibly expensive pieces of machinery that can, process an entire field of wheat. Where like what, you're gonna have a family farm fucking doing this shit with their children? Like what? No, that's not gonna work. Like the processing and it creates enough food that we have solved the food problem in the world. It's just that we use it as a profit-seeking thing and will throw away food and break eggs and dump away milk when we go, uh-oh, too much milk this quarter, that would hurt our profits. Throw it away. Don't even give it to people. Throw it away, right? Like we have the because of processing and, major industry, we're able to provide for every person. It's just a moral failing that we don't do it. So like I don't see the like this being a thing that's a barrier is where the government should step in and have America's processing things to then, like, we already give a shit ton of subsidies to companies all the way up the line, from the farms all the way through to the processing stuff. It's just a straight money pour from the American taxpayer straight into the profits of a few fucking criminals in this case, right?
It's really expensive to get into.
Even Mike's Ranch Foods Direct operation is only possible due to the financial success of another of Mike's business ventures.
We've got to absolutely.
Ally Crate Smart Brander. Oh, it's a branding. I thought it was like a kill gun, but it's only a brander. Ah, okay.
Control the predators in the market. And only government is big enough to do that. Of antitrust and breaking up concentrated power and wealth, which has always been considered the greatest threat to any free system.
A bander. Sorry, yeah. I don't want to do stolen valor, but I'm jokingly illiterate, where I just struggle to read words. There was a thing that we watched yesterday about the education system, and the title was like, is AI destroying education in America? And the answer was no. It's been getting destroyed for a long time. And like Gen Alpha is cooked, not because of AI, but because of a bunch of things. One of them being COVID, fucked everything up during their most important development time. And then also a lot of different tactics. There's a phonics way of teaching how to read, but then there was a 3-something form of how to read. And the person was very against it, right? And I was like, oh, well, if science is as good, I look it up. Science is saying it's bad, but it was our policy for a very long time. And I'm just like, oh, weird. But they're basically saying that it teaches you to kind of just look at a word and kind of just look at the size and get a feel for it and just kind of guess. And that's kind of what I do a lot when I read. And I was like, wait, did I get taught this way how to read? Is that why I don't read very good? But like my brother can read like a fucking computer, and he's like a year and a half older than me. So he's like 1 grade level higher. So unless they implemented it literally just after him, I don't think I was given this new form. I think I'm just uniquely bad at reading because of my own, work ethic, if you will.
That's simply not happening.
JBS has skirted American watchdogs and the scrutiny of policymakers for years now.
But it's not just that nobody will stand up to them.
They're propping JBS up with millions of dollars in contracts every year. So that's meat that's going to public schools, soldiers around the world, nursing homes that are publicly funded.
Wonder why those soldiers are all around the world. Weird. Weird.
Hospitals, and they've chosen cheap meat. Cheap meat wins over pretty much anything else in America.
But meat this cheap comes at a cost.
At some point, we have to look at it.
Yeah, it sure does.
Somebody's trying to break this. And at the end of the day, it's just about money. It's about the bottom line.
I also hope we can mitigate the suffering. I hold on to hope that we can just, like, there's a point where people will deal with a little bit of pain because it's too much to ask to make a drastic change. But when everything gets so fucked, like the accelerationists have won, right? They have pushed things in it's been like just about 7 months, not even exactly. So it's like we have 4 years of this. We got about 7 more of this to go. It's gonna get what the fuck, when is the breaking point? And Zoran is in New York, right? I think I flash this literally every stream, but I was, I'm a Florida boy, but I was able to go to New York and I did a canvas. And one of the things they gave out was a little punch card. I actually didn't even get it punched because we had to leave early because it was our vacation. So we had a scheduled meeting not meeting, but we had a scheduled appointment at a cat cafe to hang out with some cats in New York, which was fun. But he gives me hope for America as a whole. Everything that they did to discredit him did not work. And now they're on overdrive trying to make him out to be this evil thing and bring back the old school Islamophobia and stuff. And I'm hoping that it's going to fail and flop because people can look at the world and see what it is where they normally wouldn't have seen it because things are pushed so bad. You're the ones that made it bad, right? They made it that fucking fucked up. So that they're even now their own normal tactics of lying to us won't work anymore because we can see through it, or they're fed up with it regardless. So that's my copium, I guess, if you will. The thing that keeps me alive. Well, there's that aspect of it, but I used to, like, when I was a kid, I would get really stressed out about a meteor just landing on my house and killing me, you know, and just straight up in my sleep, just crushed. And my parents were like, look, you know, technically it's a possibility, but like, you just can't live your life worrying about that, because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So in that situation where like, oh, we passed the threshold for the date to fix these things, well, that's not good. It's important to then work and to do your best to then not cause more of that, right? And to keep it from getting more out of hand or whatever. But you can't let the dread of what's coming there stop you from doing things that you need to do today, right? There's smarter people out there that have a fucking full plate of stuff, but I gotta like just say, all right, you guys, you got this one, you know? China's doing a lot to fix things. Will they be able to do it in time? Because they're also still doing a lot of coal, which sucks, but they're also producing, they were installing 100 solar panels per minute or per second or something insane. They installed, it was like from January to May, they installed more power, or as much power that's made in all of Turkey, you know, or like just in May alone, they installed as much power between solar and wind to fuel the entirety of Poland. And it's like just 1 month they did that, you know. It's like, oh my God, that's insane. They're building the biggest, they already have the biggest hydroelectric dam by all, you know, metrics, and they're already now going to build an even bigger one. And it's like, fuck yeah, you know. They have these certain types of like high voltage lines that can bring electricity quickly across a massive distance that normally you would have trouble with. They're not gonna be able to install that across the entire world to give it to us or anything like that, but still, it's just like, there is change happening. It's just not here, unfortunately. We had watched a lot of China videos yesterday about how cheap it is, how nice it is, and how beautiful the different like brand new subway metro stations and shit that they build, and how much English they have there. There's like, it's still on all the floors and all the walls and everything, but they have squat toilets. So, you know, unless you're ready to, unless you can make the big change, you gotta fix America. You just have to. It's not even learning Mandarin. That's chump change. Makes your legs stronger. Yeah. Just, I mean, no public toilet. I mean, I do my best to never use a public toilet, period, right? So, one of those things. So I should be fine, right? But it's just funny to, yeah. You got a bidet now. Now you're open to other solutions. Well, a bidet, I don't know if you can even use a bidet. It would have to be a different type of bidet, or a floor toilet or a squat toilet. They have the separate bowl bidet, right? Kara also does not use public restrooms. Yeah, that's a given. Yeah. I mean, I guess a squat toilet's kind of like the hover piss, just for everybody, but also for like dropping a shit. How do you not get splash? Like there's like what is what? I don't know, a quarter of a pound just plopping down, right? There's no water. Oh, that would reek. But yeah, I thought in the video we watched there was a little bit of water, but yeah, water just flushes. Weird. I guess that's how it works. Damn, dude, you just seeing just a wet lump of Play-Doh just just hit the porcelain like that, just raw. Yeah. It's a culture shock. It's definitely something. Yeah. But yeah, I love the bidet. And I mean, one of the first videos I've made in this era of my life, I was still obviously employed at my job, and I was trying to do the thing where I would do content creation and work. It didn't work out. It wasn't as fulfilling to like be a Ludwig style person, especially like I'm at an advanced age. I'm not in my 20s. I'm in my late 30s, you know? So it's like, okay, maybe something that's a bit more purposeful would be good. So that's why I prefer to do content that's a bit more forward thinking and trying to convince people of a better way of life instead of just like, I'm making banana bread. Whoa, I got to answer trivia questions. Oh no. Yeah. Do you think we're the only animal that willingly poops in our own water supply? Willingly poops in our own water supply? I mean, like, we don't poop and then drink out of the same toilet. So like, I wouldn't even classify it as us for that. Even though it all gets processed at a place and cleaned and then resent back through a very long process, there's definitely got to be a beast that shits in its own water supply. There's got to be. There's too many animals out there, right? Boom, fish, problem solved. Well, I guess animal. So boom, dolphins. Boom, owned. Fish don't have a choice, yeah. Hey, mud skippers, they got a choice. They can crawl out of the water, leave a steamer, and then crawl back in. They can climb trees, apparently. We seek out water to do it. Oh, you mean like who decides they need to shit with water specifically? Oh. Yeah, that might be us. That might be a unique thing. I don't think I've ever seen another animal be like, I guess cats bury their shit. I imagine other animals have some way of hiding their shit, and some might use water. But they don't have ass cheeks. We're unique. This is why people think that we're evil. We're not evil. We're aliens, right? It's because we have ass cheeks. Yeah, this is a good time for one of our specialty bits here. Let's see. Butt cheeks. We have butt cheeks, and other animals don't have butt cheeks. And for some reason, the captions aren't on, and I'm not sure why that is. But they're supposed to be captions. But anyway, why do we have butt cheeks? It's because of aliens. I didn't even plan this. These are random videos, but it's aliens. That's right. Aliens. We are aliens because no one else has an ass like that, right? There's no dumpies out there. But why would they come here? Because exercise. It's a long trek to go from wherever we originally came from to come here, and that's how you get your steps in. And what are the steps supposed to help you with? Your chakras. Absolutely. I wasn't expecting it to go specifically with the same one. Also, I got to figure out what my captions are working. Weird. How weird. Yeah. That was fun. I got to come up with some more bits that are not just that one specifically. Also, I got to work on my ad-lib skills because it's a lot to go at once. But I need the yes and things a little bit better. Also, I've noticed that whenever I've done them before in the past, they go a little long, which is why I was trying to keep it short. And I got to have connectors to it. But also, it can be fun to have things break down and fall apart. Anything else on my list that would be particularly good? Ooh, Kara added a 1-hour video. That's definitely brave. I mean, I guess I've also put some pretty long ones on my own on here. We can... I was thinking about going with a more fun one just to kind of like wrap things up. Poops are concentrated, purged out of the body by chakras. Boom, conspiracy. Conspiracy, big chakra is pushing those poops on us. I would rather not, sir. Concentrated evil. It is... You know, I've said it many a time where I take a big dump and I'm like, oh my God. It feels like you just cleanse your soul. You just got the evil kicked out of you. All right, so this is a bit more of a fun one. This is
all right, you guys,
a Drew Gooden video. Hooray! Almost cool inventions. I'm sure we could leap it back to capitalism one way or the other, right? It's all, everything leads back to it. They are almost going to help us. I don't know, something. The most corrupt, almost cool inventions. No. I copy paste. Okay. And then I grab this, and then I put this here, and wha-bam. Manually remove it. The concentrated evil was a Family Guy bit. Probably. That could have been even where I got the term, you get that evil out of you, wherever it was. So, straight up. Also, I'm not sure if this was on Kara's list either. It could have been. Although I think maybe I just saw it when I was scrolling through YouTube. Let's take a look.
I've heard the comments. Danny, decorate your office. It looks like you're in an insane asylum. Where's the little nutcracker guy? Well, for your information, he's right here, okay? My son stole him because he thought he was cool and he wanted to put him down the slide.
He has a son. That's crazy. He looks like a son. That's crazy. I guess I got to get used to this. Like, if we're not having kids, then I have to get used to being used to what are otherwise the generation after me having kids going, ah, yes, right.
A few times, so that's what he's been
Kara's like, hooray, no kids, kitty cats forever.
doing for the last few weeks. But I get it. Apparently him being in the background of my videos is more important to you guys than my son's happiness. So here he goes, back in the background.
Wait.
Okay, I got a shelf too. I haven't put it up yet. Oh. And perfect. Perfect placement for the...
Okay, our shoe cats are kind of like kids, but they don't want our background pieces to play with.
Little nutcracker guy, exactly behind my body.
What an interesting little cutout. There must be like a closet in this room that had to like butt into this room or something weird.
There we go, much better. Hopefully that's good enough for you guys and you can quit your comments, all right? This place is looking awesome. I feel like I've been doing a lot of videos about technology lately with a very pessimistic lens. Content about AI slop, self-driving cars that kidnap you, and I wanted to do a video about all of the cool technology that's in the works. You know, there's so much innovation going on. It would be a great palate cleanser to just do a video on the coolest technology coming out today. But then I couldn't find that much, so we're going to do almost cool inventions instead. California startup working to perfect flying cars. Now, I feel like flying cars have been a thing for so long that companies have been trying to do, and it's just never happened.
We watched iShow Speed fly in a car. What are you talking about? Autonomous, driverless drone taxis that are great for other people to fly.
And in every demo, I feel like they say flying cars are just a couple years away, and that's been going on for like 20.
That would be if Elon Musk was making one, which surprisingly, he's not trying to sell one, honestly.
years. So I kind of feel like it's never going to happen at this point. But let's see, maybe this California startup has finally figured it out.
NBC News was given exclusive access to see their concept model with our own eyes. Sure enough, we watched it soar through the air over another car.
Okay, come on, man. That's not a flying car. For one, it's barely flying, and for two, it's barely a car. You see how big regular car wheels are? And then look at these tiny, dinky little wheels?
Yeah. Dude, what a hilarious comparison to be like, this is the California America version. Okay, wow, they've got some crazy looking stuff when you Google search it, but reality, American reality. It's just, which way, Western man? Which way? This one, if it didn't have the stupid little crappy wheels at the bottom, you'd think it would be like a bad UFO in like a movie or something. Why they tried to give it a little flashy little headlight, a little bit of style up there. And then the little dome where you sit in. It must be like a bunch of drone blades hidden by this housing, so that way it doesn't look like it's a giant drone thing, I'm guessing. And then it has like a lightweight skeleton underneath. Oh, I see. Because this has no wheels. You can't drive. I see. Well, that must be why they have all these crazy other things that when you Google around, they have some other looking stuff that obviously I've not seen in action, but they got, oh God, it's so small. But they have things that look like this, where they look like a car, and then with the things on top. But that's just, it looks like just something out of a video game or something. So
also, it's obviously just a drone that they pretend like dressed up to look like a car. You can hear it. It sounds like a drone. I feel like they just glued wheels to a drone and were like, it's a car. To be fair, I feel like a flying car doesn't really even need wheels. It just needs to be able to fly. Like, why would you even want to drive it on the ground if it could fly? So the wheels are more so just for show, perhaps?
We were heavily restricted, forced to shoot at least half a football field away.
Why? It's not far enough away to not hear that it's a drone.
What? Wait, okay, so hold on. So for one, they had to film super far away, which I did notice. Look how far away he is from the car. They're like, all right, so because this is a, new technology, we're gonna need you to stand back pretty far, and you're also gonna wanna wear protective eyewear. So just go ahead and put these on. We're all gonna put these on over our eyes like this, and then turn around. It's actually better for the experience if you turn around and face the other way. And then, if you feel a gun pressed to the back of your head, that's totally normal.
And we never actually saw the driver entering or exiting the vehicle.
And they never saw the driver enter or exit the vehicle. Well, that is clearly because there is no driver. This thing cannot support the weight of a human being.
We still have some IP, intellectual property, which we're trying to protect.
Yeah, I wonder what the IP is there. We're still trying to copyright the concept of a product that doesn't work. Once we can do that, we're gonna have a pretty lucrative...
Yeah, I mean, the other one was autonomous, so it piloted itself. So I guess you would, in theory, put in your destination and it would launch and do its own air traffic control, whatever. Again, great for somebody else to get in and do. I don't like flying in a plane, which has had an incredibly long period of safety regulations that we've only now begun to dismantle and discredit. And just because society has forced me to do it. So if somebody's like, oh, check it out, this will be probably still an insanely expensive trip, I go, nah, no thanks. Yeah, no.
Lucrative business on our hands. Okay, I lied. I actually did find one cool invention for this video, and it just so happens to be today's sponsor, Midas Merge. If you like easygoing, relaxing mobile games with cute little creatures, Midas Merge just might be the game for you. In Midas Merge, you team up with King Midas and Queen Laia to revive the Gardens of Gold, because right now they're getting absolutely this is the type of game for me, all right? Just sit back, relax, enjoy some cute little creatures. Click the link in the description or scan this QR
Hey, he got the shelf up. Whoa, put no dude on it.
Code. And thank you to Midas Merge for sponsoring this video, and thank you to you guys for checking out Midas Merge. Magical floating backpack can reduce 80% of the burden and is a magical tool for outdoor travel.
This person appears to have a floating backpack while running, as if it's disconnected from their body.
Okay, so that's kind of cool. It's like a state
As a person who's used a Steadicam, that weight goes through your body. It's attached to you. Yeah, it sounds like some kind of one-axis stabilizer for a backpack, which I guess is great for Door Dashers who are delivering your fucking food, is probably where this is going to go, which is going to make it just that much heavier and that much more of a burden on the people who are using it.
Stabilized backpack. It is still kind of bouncing, especially in the shot where the guy was walking through the woods. It actually kind of looked like it was bouncing the exact wrong way. Like, what's it doing way up there? Whoop. Yeah, and some of it actually looks...
Well, because he's going down, so then it's reacting. Yeah.
Looks like it's inhibiting him from walking correctly. It looks like it's shaking more than a regular backpack would.
There's a special elastic rope frame.
And this is the innovative technology that they use to make it happen. It's like this. It's like this. Okay, so this is like a 25-pound dumbbell, and using this technology, the dumbbell doesn't move. But this guy is still holding 25 pounds. I mean, so it's not like...
It'll transfer all the way to your shoulders. So, like, the weight of the thing that would normally drop... that is now going to not drop and instead push through the springs or ropes or whatever, is going to then push into your shoulders to make up for it. The same way that when I'm holding the Steadicam with a big spring arm thing in the vest, I push the camera away from me, my vest gets really fucking heavy, and I bring it closer and it gets less heavy because there's a torque arm going on, but it's always going to go through you, whether you're, even if it's all the way up against your body. Because you're not holding it with your arms, the springs are holding it, but all that weight gets transferred. It's physics, you know?
Like it's taking away all of the weight. I guess it's just stabilizing it so there's not drastic, like, boom, boom, bouncing. Boom, boom, bouncing, which is the technical term. As you're...
You would feel the boom, boom bouncing. It's just the bag wouldn't feel it. It's the other way around. The bag would feel weightless because you are holding the weight. So, you know, the eggs in the order or the... soda cans in the order would feel less shaked up.
You're walking along.
The friction nano generator converts the mechanical energy from the relative motion between the backpack and the body into electrical energy. How amazing is that?
It is almost amazing. I guess
electrical energy for what? What do you mean? To recharge a phone? Like what is it supposed to be a battery in here that's lifting with a motor? Again, that motor would then be attached to your body, which then equal an opposite reaction. If it's pushing up, it's got to push down on you. It has to.
I'd have to try one of these to see if it really works, but I gotta be honest, and especially in this clip, it actually looks like it's shaking around too much. I feel like the backpack is...
Because the floor is uneven, but also it's only stabilized in one way, so it's going to look worse. But yeah.
Not keeping...
Also, it's not a perfect stabilizer because it's just a bunch of fucking... It's just two springs, yeah.
With his bouncing movements. Introducing Hoverglide, the world's first floating backpack. Okay, well, it's definitely not floating. It's bouncing. It could be the world's first bouncy backpack. All right, how much is one of these bad boys gonna run you? Oh, it is like a GoFundMe type of thing. Okay, so it was fully funded in 2018. Let's view the campaign. Is it a real thing that's come to fruition? This campaign is closed. Okay, how am I supposed to, how do you buy them? Raised $400,000 with 600 packs shipped. Okay, so yeah, so it looks like each backpack was, what's 400,000 divided by 600? Okay, so the devil's number, it was like a demonic amount of money. And then what, did they stop? Can you buy them? I guess you can't buy them anymore. Yeah, the product simply doesn't exist. Okay, so that's cool. Colored ferrofluid headphones. I mean, they do look pretty cool. The only downside is that you...
It looks like a screen that has a video that works off of a thing.
Don't get to enjoy them while you're using them. It's like a cool visual experience for other people. And I guess the fluid is moving to the movement of the music, but...
Although I guess maybe it could be a little... Maybe just because of the way the video looked, but it could be an actual...
Other people
little pocket.
Can't hear the music and you can't see the fluid. So it's like a multimedia experience, but everybody only gets to experience one media. I think ferrofluid is like that magnetic kind of fluid, and it's reacting to the sound.
Usually ferrofluid is the one that does the weird magnet shit. It looks like little spikes, right? Yeah. Images. You can go shopping. You can buy this shit. So ferrofluid's like whenever you see those weird videos with like the spiky, wiggly liquid shit. That's what that is. So I wouldn't even consider that ferrofluid. It just looks like what is it? Lava lamp on your ears almost.
Sound waves. I wonder if that makes the headphones way more heavy. They do look really big also. And I do wonder if this fluid is alive. Like, it kind of looks like the thing that turns venom into venom. So the fluid actually pulses more rapidly as it gets closer to its target. Or I mean, when it likes the music you're listening to. God, they look huge on that kid's head. This kid's just like hanging out with a feral cat in an abandoned airplane as well.
Like just standing, yeah, just standing as stiff as possible.
I guess the fluid led him there. You're listening to music and all of a sudden the music stops and you just hear, follow the voice, kill him. I wonder what the fluid does when the music is turned off as well. Does the fluid get to go to sleep or? These aren't like incredibly stupid or anything. In fact, they're almost cool. Robot horse alert, let's go. Japanese company unveils hydrogen-powered robotic horse. Kawasaki unveiled a prototype that's capable of standing and posing, but this video is CGI. Well, where's the prototype then? Let's see the video, let's hear him out. Honestly, I mean, if this thing was real, I would be like, maybe, do I need one of these? Do I need a robotic horse? That would actually be kind of sick. And apparently there's an article about cowboys.
I don't see, like, climbing bizarre terrain. I guess if you get one of those Boston Dynamics style things, yeah. Like, well, they made the legs thicker and they gave it a foot instead of a little ball. But, like, if you feel like you want to be able to traverse all terrain, but then also like get in that jockey pose and really go at it. But it doesn't seem like the regular people want to drive like that specifically or ride like that. It's kind of like very specific type of hobby that does that. And it'd be sick if like you had like a Professor X style chair that had a little platform of Boston Dynamics underneath it that could just and like keep you level as you go up and down stairs and shit. You kind of look like a little leader, like a little like ancient, you know, emperor or some shit. Would it be efficient? Wheels are pretty good at riding around. Yeah, wheels are pretty good at riding around on flat surfaces, but on rough surfaces, legs are pretty good at that if they're able to have a brain attached to them, or I guess in this case, a robotic brain with a bunch of cameras that do its best to LiDAR and, you know, scan and try to figure out the way that it can step and whatever. It would be fun, I guess. It'd be kind of wild to ride on it.
Reacting to the concept of this robotic horse? Would a real Wyoming cowboy ride one? Kawasaki Heavy Industries has unveiled a prototype for its first-of-a-kind robotic horse called Corlero. The four-legged AI-enhanced robot is about the size...
Gotta have AI. You gotta shove the AI into it. You've got to. Does it actually have artificial intelligence? Does it even use a large learning model? No, it doesn't. A large language model, sorry. No, it doesn't. It just uses some neural networks of different camera data to understand landscapes. That's somehow now an artificial intelligence. Sure, man, sure.
A large motorcycle and is designed to mimic an intuitive, equine-like riding experience controlled by its rider's weight shifting. It's also powered by a hydrogen fuel cell.
Oh, so you lean forward. It's a Segway. It's a leg way. You just lean forward, it goes forward. Lean back, goes back. Lean upright, it stops.
Cell engine, just like a real horse. I thought it was a joke when I first heard it, said Jake Hutton. Every step a horse takes, it gets feedback and it gives you feedback, he says. If you're about to ride into a quicksand bog, a horse will stop and let you know we shouldn't do this before you get into the middle.
There's that quicksand shit again. We were talking about quicksand because, you know, things that we thought would be more important, and quicksand is one of those hilarious ones that comes up because what the fuck? I've never even seen what quicksand actually looks like.
middle of it. Yeah, if there's one thing machines and robots hate, it's getting input and giving output. That's something machines and computers famously never do. I bet a robot would probably just keep trucking right on into the bog. I don't think you could ever build a computer program that can recreate the intelligence of a horse. Okay, I hate to say it. I mean, like, I understand not being down for the robot horse future, but I mean, you know, scientists are smart, then maybe they will figure out how to make the robot as smart as a horse. And then what are you gonna do? Because then they're gonna have heard what you said about them and they're gonna be pissed. Equine experts said they'll need to see it to believe it. I was definitely dubious when I heard, said Amy Stockton, a river.
So apparently this is, well, I Googled what does quicksand look like. It just looks like sand. Would a horse know that that's quicksand? But a horse, I thought horses were stupid. All I've ever heard is that horses are stupid. These are like movies that show quicksand. Wait, what? I thought I said fake. That's a sign I've never seen before. Oh my God. That is horrifying for multiple reasons. Oh my God. What the fuck? That's bad. That's horrifying. If people legitimately get sucked in like that and all you see is a hand sticking out as they're dead. Oh my God. A horse can get spooked by a leaf or a flower. Yeah, they get blinders on. Foot sensors measure earth density. You could. I was going to say you could just load this data into the thing to say, this is where you should tell it it's quicksand. They can be dumb like any other animal. I mean, they train horses to run off of a fucking diving board, so.
Based veterinarian. You think of all the joints, all the tendons, all the ligaments, all those parts working together, she said, to get machine parts moving the way a horse moves, and taking the majesty and magic of a horse and turning it into something that needs oil, sounds like quite an undertaking. Yeah, I feel like none of them are really answering the question of like, would they ride it? They're just like, scientists can't.
Also, there's no oil on electric things. Although that's a hydrogen cell powered one. I don't know if that uses a traditional motor in the sense that it would need oil, but whatever. They're just saying whatever.
They can't do it. Nah. Maybe I would ride it if they make it. Too bad they're never going to. I feel like the person writing the article was more looking for their views on like whether this would make a good horse and not their views on like computer science. Because like in terms of moving like a horse, I feel like it's only a matter of time before they figure that out. They already have robots that can do like triple backflips in the air, like jujitsu and shit. So it's only a matter of time before they figure out galloping. I'll quote Churchill on this. There's something about the outside of a horse that's good for the inside of a man. Okay. What? There's something.
He means like his soul or something, but yeah.
With the animal that's really connected to the human heart, he said. That totally makes sense. So when you have a horse, you have a relationship with the horse. You like to go out riding with the horse, and the horse likes it too. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how horse-human relationships work at all. Just kind of talking out of my ass. 100%. Oh, if you.
I had no idea that Churchill was a horse girl. I did not connect that. I knew Churchill was an insane racist. When he was pulling up a Churchill quote, I was like, whoa, hold on. Whoa.
Run out of hydrogen and you're up at the top of the Wind River Mountains. It'll be a little hard to get your robot out of there. But if you take your horse up, it's fueled by feed stuff. Is that a technical term, feed stuff? Does that just mean food? Next time I'm going out with friends, I'm gonna be like, you guys wanna get some feed stuff? You can find a little valley, graze a bit, stop at the stream and get a drink, and you're good to go for another day. That's right. You can't find a charge port out there or what.
Churchill advocated against native self-rule in Africa, America, Australia, and India. I do not admit, for instance, the great wrong that has been done to the Red Indians of America or the black people of Australia. I do not admit that a wrong has been done to these people by the fact that a stronger race, a higher grade race, a more worldly, wise race was put in the way. Put it that way, has come in and taken their place. Jesus Christ. I Googled most racist Churchill quote and it did not disappoint. But we got statues of him because he fought in World War II. So he did fight against Nazis, even though I forget if he was the one that said, like, did we side with the wrong side specifically? He was that. Oh my God, that quote was specifically while speaking to the Palestine Royal Commission and in favor of allowing Jews to settle in Palestine. Specifically, that's when he did that one in 1937. Insane. There's a gigantic section for India, as you imagine, right? That's the time period. Oh my God. Actually, a rather small section on Arabs. Wow. Gee whiz. It was a different era.
Whatever. I don't even know what charges a hydrogen. How do you find hydrogen? Good luck finding a collapsing neutron star to charge your hydrogen power.
Well, yeah, sure.
Mine just eats grass. And
helium is what I thought helium was one way, but obviously helium's kind of run out. Oh, sorry. You know the idea of horse riding. But let a horse be a horse and not transportation or a sport, especially a sport. You mean the idea of horse riding, but let a horse be a horse and not transportation. But do you think that the robot would be good for a sport? Or do you think that horses belong in sports? Because, like, hey, we're playing polo, horse. What? Like, yeah, that's right. We're playing polo. You're get on it, run.
And then here's a picture of some humans with horses, just for reference. I'm sure you can tell which one is which. So I would say the robot horse. I mean, like, if you put one in front of me and were like, do you want to ride this? I would be like, hell yeah. Well, actually, I would need to see some proof that it was safe first. And then I would be like, hell yeah.
Let's be real. You would be like, let's try it a little bit. You know, we'll put it in first gear. You know?
So in that sense, it's cool, but it doesn't exist yet. So for now, it's almost cool. The world's first humanoid robot with synthetic muscles and bones. Oh God.
Feel like it would just be a bunch of hydraulics attached to a skeleton to then give it ways to bend, right? And then they put this fucking vacuum seal thing on it to make it look like one of those Westworld ones. But unnecessary.
It's like they're trying to make it look as scary as possible. That's the thing. And they put horrifying music over it.
That's their music. That's funny.
I guess it's cool that they're giving robots muscles and tendons, but everything else about this is terrifying. I like that it seems like they were simultaneously able to give a robot human muscles and human pain at the same time. Yeah, this thing looks like it's in a lot of physical pain. It is a little concerning that we gave a robot human muscles and the very first thing it does when it turns on is go into a strangling position. Oh, I'm alive. I must kill someone! Definitely gotta look into that. Unveiling the swimsuit, the waterproof suit that allows employees to quickly transition from the office to the pool.
What? What?
There's no way this is real. This cannot be a real product. What real world issue is this solving? David Floyd Fitness has produced a collection of waterproof suits that allow users to seamlessly transition from the workplace to the pool and back again. I wouldn't say seamless. I mean, they still look soaking wet. So they're not waterproof then, actually. Now that I'm looking at them and they look soaked with water. There are
What the fuck? That's like
not waterproof then, actually. Now that I'm looking at them and they
like this photo, it looks like it's like a meme template. Like it just makes like this guy who's just placidly just staring in the distance wearing just wet clothes. What makes normal suits not cool appropriate if you're just going to soak them? Is it because they can get chlorine on them without damaging something or whatever? Like, is that what? Everyone loves the inside of a bathing suit, and now your suit will have that as well. Comfort.
They look soaked with water. They're also putting a lot more thought into not looking insane in the office. You know, you show back up to the office after you go in the pool and you're not soaking wet. So it's like, hey, this thing really works and now I don't look crazy. But they didn't put any thought into the fact that you're still diving into a pool wearing a suit. So there is still a scenario where you look insane. It comes after a survey of 2,000 office workers found they spend an average of 4 hours and 35 minutes a week in meetings. And
nothing to do. It has nothing to do with getting in a pool.
I guess that would somehow be fixed if you could just dive into a pool for a couple minutes. And 80% spend up to 5 hours straight in back-to-back meetings, taking up huge chunks of their day. Okay, well then it sounds like AKA they don't have time to go swimming in the middle of the day. They're in back-to-back meetings. While a large amount of 81% admitted that they try to avoid these types of meetings when possible. Not only that, but people also have to work.
They try to avoid when possible and say, oh, sorry guys, I'm wet. I'm sorry, I can't come to the meeting because of my water suit.
An average of 3 hours and 15 minutes overtime on contract. This means that almost half have to skip their fitness and wellness activities due to their work schedule. Okay, I appreciate trying to fix this problem. It is a real problem. This is 100% not the solution to that problem. I hate to say it, this one, not cool. Like, firmly not cool. The invention of Rolligons, tires that won't crush.
Even if these tires are installed on a truck weighing several thousand kilograms and driven
some AI ass shit
over a person.
Not the video, but the voiceover. And also like big inflatable soft tires, whatever. Those have been done a bunch.
That person would remain unharmed.
So like,
also usually it's the impact of a vehicle hitting you, not so much of the running you over. I mean, I guess running you over safely is one thing, but that's kind of the afterthought compared to the, you know, bone-crushing impact of the front end of an F-150.
How many prototypes of this do you think they went through that didn't work before they got to this one? Finally, we have a model that doesn't kill anybody in its way. If only our former fallen employees were here to see this. They would be so excited.
Due to the low-pressure tires, the vehicle's entire weight is distributed over a large area, so the person underneath the tire remains unharmed.
I don't know about unharmed. He actually did look kind of uncomfortable as it was going over him.
So the person underneath
hey!
Yep, it goes over him, and then the man safely drags himself away using only his arms. But that's just because that's how he always walked. He walked like that even before this.
These low-pressure tires are so remarkable that only a force of 2 kilograms is exerted at each point.
They do look pretty impressive for going over like different terrains and stuff. Look at it wobble over these rocks. That's kind of satisfying to watch. This is like a perfect invention for the type of guy that loves running people over, but, you know, doesn't want to kill anybody. At most, he just wants to uncomfortably pin them down for a couple seconds. My guess is that you can't travel very fast with these because they're so squishy. I feel like they would just disintegrate if you tried to go over 30 miles per hour in them. Someone said no profit from keeping people safe. Corporations are holding the world back while also keeping it afloat. Weird dynamic. And then another person said there's no conspiracy. It's just that the tires only function at low speed. They're currently used in Alaska and Canada for the tundra. All right, so top places to get run over. Turns out Alaska and Canada's tundras. So you know what? These actually are still in use today, and they do have a specific niche purpose. Turns out it's not for rolling over this guy. Although I guess it is nice to know you could if push came to shove, or I guess if crush came to smush. So I'm gonna label these pretty much cool. You know what? I think there's some real potential in the inventions we've seen today. I think if we just keep it up, we work on these, we could have some cool inventions on our hands. So I'm feeling.
That's an example of like an AI slop. That's not even like the most egregious case, but it's just like, look, you present this falsehood that this old footage is a conspiracy against, I don't know, big tire. Like obviously those vehicles had an incredibly unique form factor with the weird front, you know, pivoting single wheel design that would not be easily implemented. It's not like you can just throw these suckers on your car and you're good to go. So, but then presenting it as if it's some kind of conspiracy with an AI generated prompt that then reads it with a dark voice and then just post, and then you get engagement because you're lying. And then people go, hey, you're lying. And that, boom, engagement back in the algorithm. Go, go, go. Like, you can do that for money, I guess, but that just shitifies everything. I would not want to do that. That's not even like the most egregious form of being an asshole or lying or scamming. It's just, I couldn't bring myself to do that. I'd rather, you know, sell my plasma or something. I would rather do anything else other than that. That seems horrible. I'd just go work a shit ass job instead. Like that sucks. Oh, speaking of what sucks. Oh, I thought that was me in the background for a second, but it's just a different room. Obviously, that's a very different room. Very different. than my room. Didn't get a good start in the morning because I was doing the video edit. I don't see... It's probably not the right time because he's a bit of an overnighter now because I think he usually streams in the night. But hopefully he likes the video. I would show it to everybody here, but I don't want to leak something if it ends up being... Because it'll be on his channel, obviously. So that way we can show it when he has his thing. And then we can, link his channel and stuff. So that way he can get some extra views on it. He's growing. He's doing his best. And he has paid me a few times already. And it's usually the one like saying, send me an invoice, you fuck. Do it. Yeah, no spoilers, yeah. So we'll chill. Probably tomorrow. Again, because I put that video out, I'll probably have less crap to do in the morning. I'll make it a goal to myself because I'll say it out loud. I would like to try to get my first workout in tomorrow before stream, whatever, because I feel like I've gotten caught up on a bunch of other chores. I can also like try and schedule my blood work and a few other things, just some stuff to get done. So as a way to keep yourself moving and to keep yourself getting better and better, set aside some of those tasks that you don't want to do or haven't done. Other vid for next time? You mean, I was saying like you'd probably be able to show the video that I edited once he's like, approved or whatever. Yeah, so set that goal for yourself. This is the short-term thing. One of those things that makes you feel accomplished and get it done. Maybe even do 2. Oh, the one you added? The liminal Gen Z one? You might be... It could be one of those related ones. Yeah. Like today, I knew I had enough on my list that I didn't have to worry about. Because like... so far, it's been pretty simple to just scroll my feed and find a bunch of things that seem interesting, like these smaller channels that I've never seen before. Or, the big channels I like will put out something like Boy or something like, oh, this is going to be a banger. Hell yeah. Right? But there's lots of new things to find out there. And then sometimes the list gets so long, I can just kind of pick off of it things that I've just had on the docket for a while. But that means that some days I don't really build the list out because it's already been kind of going. So those are days where I'll definitely lean on the thing. You think I'll like the video? Okay, interesting. I thought maybe it was a blind. You think that it would make sense based off the title, but that's interesting that you think I would like it. Especially if it's like a channel full of a bunch of stuff. Hell yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I'm pumped for tomorrow. Hopefully everyone else is pumped for tomorrow. Yeah. Let's see who's online to raid into. We have 5 viewers. We're growing. It's happening. You can't stop us. Sean the Black. Let's go Sean the Black. Sean the Black is a very former rising star, current currently offline. Well, never mind. Well, never mind. They missed their shot at the viewers. They missed their shot. We went to J. Marianne. So let's try going to Little Bear again. Keeping it a revolving door. This is another well-known video editor in the Hassan circle of people / raid. $36. They're playing the Horse Girl game, which is kind of funny. It looks like she's really into it. I don't know if it's just because no one played it or if it's because she loves it. But we'll see. Chill game streams are also a thing that one day I would like to be able to get back to, but I'm trying my best to make sure I don't just turn brain off, play games, right? I want to be able to like do stuff or whatever. So yeah, see you tomorrow. It'll be all around 9 a.m. my time. You can see the time there to get an idea of your zone and the difference. Either way, get something done, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'll hold you accountable.
You know. Oh, another raid, double raid. Thank you. Yeah, fuck ContraPoints. Basically bashing the online net. My take is this.